San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And a happy Wednesday to everybody out there in America's finest city. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Thanks again for tuning in, as we got a lot to break down still in the Padres world. Thought for sure we'd kind of be done with this. I thought for sure it'd be time to, you know what, even in the promo we had for today's show, it was like, all right, well, let's get to Monday's show that we had planned.
Start this whole transfaction over again.
Let's get into football. Aztecs. How about them Aztecs, Sean?
How about them Aztecs?
Thank you, Sean. They're off this week, but they had a good win over the weekend. We haven't talked about that yet. It's Wednesday. But the reality is, it's like, all right, let's dive back into the Monday show we're going to have. At this point in time, there's really no reason to recap what has happened in the NFL. It's better off to start getting locked into the next week of the NFL. We got a great week of college football this weekend. We could dive into this week of high school football. I mean, most of our stuff from Monday, aside from the fact that the Aztecs are in a great spot, we had some couple of topics for Aztec football that are going to be good. And they're a little evergreen, at least for the next week, which we'll talk about at noon. It was time to dive into something else. Something not Padres or Mike Shildt related. Maybe we even got to talk a little bit about the NLCS or the ALCS, which we'll get to a little bit. And I thought for sure, as I was driving home last night from pitchers, after I watched Western Kentucky not show up.
Fortunately lose. Fortunately lose to Florida Worldwide. You were happy about it.
I was never going to be in a bad situation with that. I might have over-exaggerated for a little bit of play on the radio. But you know what? I will say, I had to show up a little bit late. All right, we had a little rain delay for practice yesterday. Torrential downpour. So I left practice late. I already got a text. Big's down 6-0. I'm like, all right, well, that's not great. And then I get the pitchers, right? My buddy's already there. I look at the score. Not great. Not great for Big Red. And the thing that pains me about Big Red losing yesterday was the fact that they lost in the Zombieland uniforms, which means they'll probably never wear those again. And those were cool. And then our resident FIU fan walked into pitchers with a big smile on her face. What's the score? What's the score? Oh my God! I thought Mike was gonna scream. She was like, "Oh, that's great! Go Panthers!" West Kentucky could not. That was the only Coosa game or Sunbelt game last night that wasn't fun to watch. That was the only blowout game. Anyway, so I'm leaving pitchers last night after what was the debacle of a performance out of Western Kentucky. And I get a phone call from our program director, Adam Klug. He said, "Have you seen the article yet?" And I said, "I have seen something pop up," thinking about the John Heyman article that came out last night. It was about 2 paragraphs. And I said, "What, the thing that John Heyman posted?" And he was like, "No, that's like 2 paragraphs. What Kevin Acee posted?" I said, "No." He was like, "Go home. When you get home, open up the paper or view it on your phone and dive in." So we had Mike Shildt news again last night. And it was a very inside look into how Mike Shildt managed the San Diego Padres. And to me, it wasn't shocking to read the article. In fact, I thought, as much as people are freaking out about it, I didn't think it was as bad as what a lot of people on social media made it out to be. Now, it's unfortunate that Mike Shildt, according to the reports from Kevin Acee and the 20 sources that he has, it's unfortunate that Mike Shildt ran his club the way that he did for his coaching staff. It's unfortunate that he didn't have necessarily the greatest working relationship with his coaching staff. It's not, it's not great. And there's a lot of things that come about with Mike Shildt. But the fact of the matter is the guy won. All right. So, like, on the field, they were winning. Off the field, might be a little bit more stressful for the people that worked around him. But the way that Mike Shildt handled the media with his condescending tone and, like, kind of acting like we're all stupid, it did not surprise me that he acted like that behind the scenes. We're going to get into the details of this article and all of the quotes and all of the sources that Kevin Acee used in this piece, talking about his time in St. Louis and how eerily similar it was. What Mike Shildt had to say. I mean, there's two sides to every story. Mike Shildt, as quoted in there, wanted the best for his team, wanted the best for the organization, and wanted the best for his players. And he believes that he is there to make every player on his team potentially have the best career that they have. And you know what? Sometimes it takes a little toughness to be able to do that. He might have gone a little overboard. But I think as I read through it, the irritating thing for me, if I was one of the staff members, is the fact that he held the staff to higher standards than apparently he held the players. And the way that he treated the staff was a little bit different than the way he treated the players. And maybe that showed in the performance when it came to them having to win a series, like against the Dodgers in 2024, or them even this last season against the Cubs. Maybe that was the difference that the Padres needed. But I'm not going to sit here and dance on the man's grave. He wasn't fired. He left on his own accord. And as much as everybody still, like, reading this article last night, wants to say, like, oh, well, they paid him off, and he said all these things to get the payment. And I mean, think about everything that needs to happen in a line and get Mike Shildt to agree to all these things for you to fit the narrative that the Padres fired him. I don't understand the logic. And everybody's like, well, I talked to sources too, and they said, like, he actually was fired. Like, okay. Think about everything that would need to happen. Now, if they wanted to get rid of this guy and he didn't want to leave on his own, why would he put this much effort into having the same story and to walking away? It doesn't make any financial sense. Doesn't make any sense at all. If somebody's trying to get rid of you, you're just going to, like, do whatever they say when you have guaranteed money. I mean, it's got a lawsuit written all over it. So I'm not going to entertain those questions. Two things could be true about this situation with Mike Shildt. One, he was done. He was done trying to please everybody. He was done trying to, run a ball club the way that he needed, the way that he saw he needed to run a ball club. Okay, he could be done. And that could be true. He could have left. He could still leave on his own. He still could have left on his own accord, which I believe. That could be true. The other thing that could be true is he ran his club at a level that people around him did not like. That also could be true. Both things could be true. So just because they have this story now in this article that we're going to dive deeper into when we come back about all of these little things and these relationships that Mike Shildt had with his coaching staff and even AJ Preller that didn't seem like they were great, that could be true. And him leaving on his own can also be true. Both of those things can be true. And if you look at the way that he treated the players compared to the way that he treated the staff, I don't know. To me, that seems like a little much. But Mike Shildt, who led the Padres to back-to-back 90-win seasons and consecutive playoff berths, abruptly retired as manager, citing health, stress, and burnout. But the full picture obviously reveals a very far more complex story as laid out in Kevin Acey's article in the Union Tribune last night. Mike Shildt insists his decision was voluntary and driven by personal well-being. Numerous staffers described a very tense, exhausting workplace under a highly demanding, at times volatile manager. At the same time, Mike Shildt, widely respected as a brilliant game strategist and strong leader of players who delivered results. Both things do appear to be true. Shildt wore himself out trying to control every detail, and in doing so, wore out much of his staff too. Both of those things can be true. Mike Shildt had been part of baseball since he was 8 years old. He is one of the only managers to never have played any baseball at a professional level. He is a guy that had every single job in a baseball clubhouse at one point in his life. And he prided himself on that. He's very proud about that. And so what he believed he needed his staff to do, what he believed needed to be done to be a good and a successful baseball team, wore him out and wore his staff out. But I'm going to tell you right now, the guy won everywhere he was. So both things can be true. What Mike Shildt believed was necessary to win baseball games and make the playoffs exhausted Mike Shildt and exhausted his staff. What else is in this article about Mike Shildt? We're taking a deeper dive when we come back about the manager, former manager of the San Diego Padres, and what it was like working with Mike Shildt as laid out by the Kevin Acey article. We'll explain further when we continue on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. All guests on 97.3 The Fan. Join us via the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. Basic criminal charges. Trust David P. Shapiro criminal defense attorneys helping clients regain control since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. All right, it's time to get into this thing. Some people are asking in the chat, like, well, I need comparisons to this and that. Hey, did you read the article? If not, we're going to help you out here. We're not going to read it word for word, obviously, but there's a lot of things that we want to pick out of this article from Kevin Acee about Mike Shildt. Now, I do want to mention, reported yesterday, updated yesterday at 5 o'clock, Jeff Sanders had in an article in the Union Tribune. It's titled, quote, "A really attractive job. AJ Preller already receiving calls about Padres' vacant managerial position." An article that, like, all right, okay, I don't really need it. What am I going to dig into this for? It quotes a lot of things from the press conference. We were here for the press conference. I know what was said. Here's some candidates. But at the very beginning of this entire thing, as reported by Jeff Sanders. Now, I laid it out yesterday, what I would do if I was the Padres. The first thing I would do is get this guy extended as quickly as possible. I'm talking about AJ Preller. If you do not believe that AJ Preller is going to be the general manager for the long period of time, or at least during the next couple of years, then just get rid of him. Don't let him be a general manager in a lame duck era. Okay? Lame duck period. Do not allow him to hire another manager if you do not believe in him. That needs to be the decision that needs to be made. As reported by Jeff Sanders, first line of this article, AJ Preller is expected to receive an extension offer this offseason, according to sources within the Padres organization. That needs to happen yesterday. That needs to happen yesterday. They got to get that thing going. They need to get that thing going. AJ Preller cannot hire a manager until he has got his contract. But here we go. Let's take a dive in what was mentioned in this article, some of the things that were very important, what Mike Shildt said, what the organization said, an inside look at the Padres clubhouse, the pattern that repeats from St. Louis, and the results that were on the field of what was the tenure, albeit short, of Mike Shildt as the manager of the San Diego Padres. And I'm going to preface this by saying, again, my opinions of Mike Shildt, I get paid to give my opinions. My opinions of Mike Shildt are he was condescending to the media. I think he handled the media poorly. But I thought he did a great job of winning baseball games. And I think he did a good job with the players. I don't know anything about his relationships with the coaches. All we're going to have is some sources here, and it's Mike Shildt's word versus their word. And to be honest with you, Mike Shildt doesn't really deny a lot of this stuff. He points out the reasons why he did the things that he did. You could agree with it. You could disagree with it. I think Mike Shildt, as a Padres manager, was a successful manager, getting to the playoffs 2 years in a row, winning over 180 games, 183 games in the last 2 years. I mean, he got the job done. Was it a little stressful? Probably. All right, let's take a deeper dive. This is what Mike Shildt said in this article. He said his decision was entirely his own, not forced or negotiated. He walked away from approximately $4 million owed to him over the final 2 years of his deal. He cited his burnout. He cited poor health and a desire for peace and better quality of life. He admitted frustration with, quote, the inability to please everybody. That was answering a question, by the way, about how other people viewed working with Mike Shildt. He defended by saying, it was his frustrations with trying to please everybody on his staff. And this goes back to him in St. Louis. He denied acting inappropriately or being abusive, but acknowledged he had, quote, high standards. Said he's, quote, walking away with my head held high and is proud of what he built. Is there anything there, Frank, that you don't believe out of Mike Shildt? I believe everything that he said right there.
Like I said on Monday, there are many things that I would believe about Mike Shildt. Him being a liar is not one of them.
No. Mike Shildt's going to tell you how it is. He's going to tell you how it is. I believe him when he says everything about this. Two things can be true. One, he could have had a somewhat hostile, I don't want to say hostile. That's kind of like, that's an HR nightmare. He could have had a very controversial, contentious working relationship with his coaches. That could be true. It could also be true that him trying to hold people to high standards wore him down just as much as it wore his staff down. Both of those things could be true. And I think in this particular case, they are. Here's what the organization said about Mike Shildt. AJ Preller, quote, "There's always going to be tension in a high-performance atmosphere. That's healthy." He described Mike Shildt's exit as more of a surprise than a shock, given signs of burnout. And privately, some members of the organization were relieved by the decision, saying morale had been low among coaches and staff. There was one part of that article that mentioned how, and it wasn't direct from AJ Preller, but a source talking about how AJ had said, "I got to go talk to Mike Shildt." And then he talked about the meme of saying something and then whoop, ducking out of the way. So again, both of those things can be true. Inside the Padres clubhouse. And again, it's funny. Like, I'm just talking about what has been reported, Frank. People still go, "That's not real. It's not true." They want to believe false narratives that prove their theory that everything sucks.
And
It's
what
like,
did we talk about yesterday?
What
It's
did we talk
not
about yesterday?
not everything has to be a conspiracy. Sometimes the way it is just the way it is. You don't have to go digging deeper into everything to find some sort of hidden meaning in what somebody said.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to take things at face value, especially coming from a guy like Mike Shildt. I would take what he says at face value.
Correct.
He's not trying to hide some passive aggressive messaging in what he's saying.
Well, then all the AJ Preller haters are out saying, like, "See, this is an AJ problem. He created this. This is the problem. This is the problem. This is the problem. We can't let him hire another manager. Like, 1 year, he's going to only do one more year." Like, you can't work on a 1-year deal. It's not when you're hiring a manager. Back to particular deal here. Inside the Padres clubhouse, this is quoted in the article. Nearly 20 sources, including 12 who worked closely with Mike Shildt, described them as, quote, "unyieldingly demanding, micromanaging, and possessing a, quote, quick temper easily triggered by questions or feedback." Some said he berated staff in private, then appeared cheerful in front of players. I think that's kind of ridiculous. Not that it happened, but like acting like that, that's not a huge fan of that. Several coaches admitted he made them better, but at a personal cost. Morale among staff was consistently low, especially late in 2025. Padres even enlisted people internally to work with Mike Shildt on communication and temper management. Players, meanwhile, largely respected Mike Shildt, calling him detailed, prepared, and deeply invested in their success. Quote, "He cares about the players more than himself," end quote, one player said. I believe all of that. Based on the Mike Shildt that we would see in the media, none of this is shocking to me. How did he act in the media, Frank? He would get
very cold, callous, and
he would
demeaning if questioned.
He'd be questioned. He'd be immediately demeaning and condescending.
Mm-hmm.
He would act like none of us knew anything about baseball and we were all stupid. And he would get irritated. But then how would he talk about his players in the media?
Always back him up.
Always
They never
back him
did
up.
anything
Always
wrong.
put him on a pedestal. Always had their backs. And then you look at the reported article, the staff felt the same way. They felt the same way. I mean, you sit there and you wonder why Luis Arraez hit second the entire year. It's not shocking to me.
Set in his ways.
But I tell you what, the guy won. I mean, he wins. And some coaches, now here's the deal, like him holding his coaches accountable is one thing. He might have done it in a way that might be a little bit too far. But a lot of coaches in this article admitted that they became better coaches because Mike Shildt held them to a high standard in order to win. They admitted it. They admitted that it made them a better coach. You have to give the guy some credit, too. I mean, this is not going to be like a just rip Mike Shildt day. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that are bad. There's a lot of stuff that's like, hey, Sometimes this is what it takes to win to a certain extent. Some patterns repeat from St. Louis. These complaints mirror the reasons Mike Shildt was fired by the Cardinals in 2021 after a 90-win season. They quote philosophical differences that insiders now confirm involve staff conflict and friction. Several St. Louis staff members reportedly threatened to quit if Mike Shildt stayed. I'm going to say that again. Several St. Louis staff members reportedly threatened to quit if he stayed. It obviously is that this is the way he is, right? Mike Shildt even said, this is how you know it's kind of the same. Because people are like, well, what happened in St. Louis? What's different? It's not different. Mike Shildt acknowledged Tuesday that the complaints were, quote, eerily similar to his time in St. Louis. Obviously, there's something to be said about the way that he runs a ball club. And people don't like it.
That's when you got to take a step back and go, there seems to be one common denominator in this math equation.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's me.
And that's where, like, for Mike Shildt, I mean, he just took his ball and went home. He said it took a toll on me. And he kind of addresses that it took a toll on his staff, but the excuse is, the way he acted. He has an excuse for everything, right? Hasn't that been the case with him? And every time he met with the media,
yeah,
he had an excuse for everything. Well, his excuse for this was, well, this is what you have to do to win. He obviously was a little bit too far. I think he needed to be somewhere in between. I think he needed to be somewhere in between, and you probably would have had even more success. But all of this stress and stuff to try to make his players the best took a toll on Mike, and he then took it out on the staff. And you could talk about the results all you want. I mean, this is Mike Shildt's career managerial record, including San Diego and including St. Louis. He only managed for 5 seasons. Can you believe that? 5 full seasons. Well, based on the way he manages, it kind of makes sense that he only managed 5 full seasons. In Mike Shildt's managerial career, he finishes with a .435 and .340 record. That's a .561 win percentage. The guy wins. 5 playoff appearances in 5 full seasons. He made the playoffs in 5 straight seasons. Transformed the Padres culture post Bob Melvin, uniting the clubhouse and reestablishing discipline. Got a significantly cheaper 2024 roster, down $90 million in payroll to 93 wins and an NLDS berth. Another 90-win season in 2025, but increasing strain behind the scenes. 2 truths can coexist. Mike Shildt is a successful old-school leader who demanded excellence and got results. His style alienated coaches, wore people down, and wasn't sustainable in the modern MLB workplace, and also, in part, wore himself down to the point where he needed to step away from the game. Both of those things can be true. I am not going to sit here and say this is some crazy backdoor deal that got him, quote, retired, like some people want to say. Mike Shildt obviously was tired of having to go like this and you know what? Maybe him taking the time off, he will do some self-eval. So for the next time he gets back into baseball, he wants to get back into baseball. It's said in that article, he wants to get back into baseball in some capacity. Maybe he can find a different way to manage where it doesn't wear him out and his staff out. Because the way that he wanted to run this team, that he thought was the way that you run a team to win, wore out his staff and wore himself out and led him to walk away from the game.
Or maybe just a different role. Maybe not as a day-to-day manager. Maybe it is somewhere in the front office that he's meant to work.
That's what he wanted to do. But what I'm saying is he could probably adjust a couple of things. adjust a couple of things and not have the same stress on his life and be a manager in baseball. I believe that.
What is going on in the YouTube chat?
I don't know. People want to fire everybody.
We're trading Fernando now. What is going on?
The narrative out there with Mike Shildt and the disconnect that he had with his staff, people are going to, look, this is the same thing that Bob Melvin walked away from. It's all AJ Preller's fault. Let's get rid of AJ Preller. That is what people want to draw conclusions to.
Incorrect.
For the people that don't like AJ Preller. That is what this is what this narrative is turning into. And from there, then people feed off of it and go, we need to get rid of Fernando and we got to get rid of Manny and we got to redo all of these things. I saw an interesting tweet last night about general managers for the Padres. I saw it. And it had something to do with a former GM that everybody says is the greatest GM the Padres have ever had. We'll talk about that when we come back and get to your phone calls. Matt in San Diego, Troop in Chula Vista. If you want to join the show today, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Give us a call. How do you react to that Kevin Acee article today? There's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. Jeff Sanders reported yesterday AJ Preller is expected to receive an extension offer this offseason, according to sources within the Padres organization. We'll talk more about that as we continue in the 10 o'clock hour on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Ben and Woods on the Fan.
Eli's so desperate to get in any sort of zinger point on Peyton.
Peyton, tell them about your last basketball game. Remember that one when you had your last game and you missed that shot?
I want to die. I can't do it anymore. I just can't.
Hey, remember that time you missed that putt?
Listen to Ben and Woods weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. on 97.3 The Fan. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. GEG 000-466. For a full list of games enrolled at 7 Mile Casino, visit 7milecasino.com.
Hey, it's Ben and Woods here, reminding you that San Diego's best place to play cards is also its closest. 7 Mile Casino offers Texas Hold'em poker, California-style blackjack, high-gal poker, and baccarat.
Make sure you get in on the weekend for their award-winning brunch from Sammy's.
It's so easy to get.
All right. I'm trying to. We're going to get to this in a second. I'm trying to. So now that I'm part of the Sports San Diego and the Holiday Bowl Red Jackets, I need to get a red jacket.
Might help.
Yeah, right. I need a red jacket.
Sounds like
today is the deadline to order said red coat.
Oh.
And I've been putting off the deal. And I was like, okay, I need my exact sizes. And I was like, oh, I'll just check the jacket. And the jacket said the size. And I was like, okay, cool. And it's like, oh, you need all your measurements. And I'm like, oh, God. I don't have time to go to like whatever. I didn't have time to, I don't have one of the, you know what? I don't have time. So right now, I was on the phone with Men's Warehouse, the last place I had measurements done. And the jacket that I'm wearing, that I currently wear all the time, are for these measurements. And I haven't changed. I fit really good in this jacket. So I'm trying to get the jacket measurements. And so I'm talking to the guy on the phone, and he was explaining like something. I'm like, dude, I just need the jackets. I know he's like, are you sure we've done measurements with you? I'm like, yes, I have physically done measurements at your store. And I know you have them in the system because somebody in my family bought me a jacket not too much further after that using said measurements. So I'm on the phone with Men's Warehouse during this last break. And I have to go. Like, can I call you back during the next break? She's like, what? I'm like, it's my job. I'll call you back soon. So I have to call back and ask for Jessica, and hopefully she'll have my information for me. I was sweating that out, and I was trying to explain. The gentleman I was talking to before was like, I mean, I get it. It's 10:42. They just opened at 10. It's a Wednesday. It's kind of hard to get things done when you're in our show. Because it's like, this is the time when people do run errands and stuff. So we'll see how the red jacket thing goes. Calvin Gregory, you're going to like the way you look. I guarantee it. I
felt kind of bad for you.
Why?
As you were running through this, like, oh God, this is annoying. But now finding out that you procrastinated to the point where this is forced upon you, I don't feel as bad for you anymore.
I found out about it
procrastination.
Like a week and a half ago, and then it was like I didn't have time. I couldn't have. I didn't have time. It's either it's like get up, work out, come back, go to work, go straight to football practice, then go to and then by the time I'm done with all the stuff I have to do, it's like 9:00, and they're closed. I swear I had one of these, measurements I could have like had somebody do it at my house, I guess. But
Did you know before you went to De La Salle?
No.
Okay.
It was a more recent thing. I kept asking, how do I get this red jacket? Where do I get it from? And then they sent it out. And they're like, here, the orders are due by this day. And I'm like, okay.
Don't we have somebody here who could have answered that question for you?
He's not on the deal anymore.
Oh, he's not?
No.
Oh.
He offered to give me, like, buy his jacket. I'm like, no, I want one that fits me specifically. I don't want a hand-me-down jacket. If I'm going to pay for the jacket, I'm going to pay for my own jacket. And it's going to fit nicely. Anyway,
the Vapors in chat is asking, does it come with a bowl of soup?
Why would it come with a bowl of soup?
I don't know. I thought it was a reference that you might understand.
Couldn't tell you. Holiday bowl? Maybe. Is there poinsettias in there? 833-288-973. 833-288-973. You got people want to weigh in on this, huh?
Yes, we do.
Let's start off with Matt in San Diego. Is the first one to call in. Matt, what's going on, man?
Not much. How's it going, Braden?
Going well.
My thoughts on this, I'll first say this is coming from Padres aren't my primary team, but I remember when the hiring first came down and it was Mike Shildt, I remember thinking it didn't make sense to begin with. And because I think the point I'm looking to make is you've got Mike Shildt, an old head baseball lifer, trying to gel with AJ Preller in a Padres organization that, from my perspective, is definitely more of a modern kind of almost manager-less approach, which seemed to rub Bob Melvin the wrong way, and which is why he left. So my thoughts then were like, okay, we're bringing in another old head baseball lifer to see if that kind of gels. And it seems to me now that, because I think there's also something to be said about, Mike Shildt personally might not be the greatest person, but I think that tension is also going to come from a disagreement with an organizational approach. And like you were saying before, we also saw that in St. Louis when he gets forced out from a successful organization that's also trying to modernize, as the Cardinals were very much an old head organization that was trying to catch up. And so it's interesting to me now to see folks saying that, that Padres need another veteran manager to manage the Stars, where to me it seems like, no, you kind of need a fresh button pusher to just get that organizational consistency top down, so you don't have your cleanup hitter bunting in a playoff game. And so you have a homogenous approach, because, really, at this point, you have the stars and you have the veterans. You have Darvish, you have Manny Machado, you have Jake Cronenworth, you have Fernando Tatis. You have the leaders in the dugout. You don't need to throw another rah-rah leader on top of that, in my perspective. I think you kind of need more of just an organizational figurehead to actually run the organization the way it's set up to run. Whether or not you agree with having kind of a managerless organizational approach or not, I think either way, it needs to be homogenous. And I think that's how you get the most out of it. So I'm wondering for your 2 cents on that.
Yeah, I think to me, when it comes to the veteran-type manager, you need to have somebody that the players respect, because the Jace Tingler experiment didn't work. And they made the playoffs in 2020 with Jace Tingler, but the Jace Tingler approach didn't work. They got to have somebody that the players respect, and on top of that is on the same page with the front office. They have to be able to have a unison pulling the rope in the right direction. Now, I will say, this team was successful on the field. But Matt brings up a lot of good points about the organization itself. Now, I don't think this is, this particular situation with Mike Shildt is like a smoking gun of a massive problem with the organization. He did the same thing happened in St. Louis that has happened here now in San Diego with Mike Shildt. But they were going to bring him back. They didn't get rid of him. They were going to bring him back, and it's the staff in San Diego wasn't threatening to leave. Now, they did say if another opportunity presented itself, this was in the Kevin Azzi article, they would have pursued said other opportunity. But they were bringing him back. Two things can be true. Mike Shildt, hard to work with on the coaching staff side. Mike Shildt wore himself out and needed to step away. 833-288-973. 833-288-973. Mo in San Diego. You're on the Braden Surprenant show. What's up, Mo?
Hey, guys. What's going on? Good morning. Reading the Kevin Azzi article this morning, I really started to think about all the things that we've been discussing over the last few days since the news first broke of Shildt leaving the Padres. And I really don't see it as a smoking gun. I really see it as a reaffirmation of something that I was already feeling ever since Shildt was announced as the new manager of the Padres. This could potentially work out for the Padres, and I think it has to a degree, but it could also not work out for the Padres in the long term. You have two different organizations in baseball at this point saying the exact same thing, right? So I'm not surprised. I think it is true that he very likely felt overwhelmed by the game, and part of that really, I think, stems from some of the pushback that he might have received from the coaching staff. And he finally said, hey, you know what? My managerial style is not conducive to anything good here in San Diego. So let's take a step back. Let's reassess and take a break. I totally feel that. And I feel like it's something that is plausible and it's very likely at this point.
I agree with that. Mo, I appreciate the phone call. I mean, I don't think this is if you think about it, because everybody's freaking out right now that the Padres have had all these different managers. And we talked about this on Monday, Frank. We talked about it on Monday. The last two managers, I don't think you could throw into this equation of like, nobody can work with AJ Preller and this is all a problem and yada, 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 yada.
I honestly, I think this is going to sound really, really
careful what you say,
kiss assy, but I think the last four generally should not be really thrown on Preller, because the first two.
No, one should be thrown on Preller.
The first.
Jace Tingler's the only one that should be thrown on Preller, in my opinion.
Okay, fair enough.
He swung and missed on the Jace Tingler thing by getting somebody that's going to follow what he does, his buddy from Texas, that the players didn't respect. That one's on. I can't give AJ Preller the benefit of the doubt on the Tingler thing. But as you're saying, I know where you're going with this.
AJ Green was never meant to win.
Andy Green.
He was never expected to win. He was never meant to win. Those teams were god awful.
No, he was wearing it for 3 years. He was going to wear it for 3 years.
Exactly. And the last two left.
Correct.
So he's really only hired two managers. This is his third in 10 years. If you really want to look at it that way.
It's not like they didn't get fired.
No, it's not
like it was a disaster and they had to fire both of them. If that was the case, AJ Preller would be gone right now.
The more and more you look at it, it's less managerial malpractice and more of it's just the way it happens sometimes.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree with that. I mean, the other thing, we talked about the staff yesterday. The staff is basically the same staff as it was with Bob Melvin in his first year in 2022, which, by the way, had a lot of members of this staff had not a lot of major league coaching experience. And they had one with Bob Melvin and with Mike Shildt. I mean, I look at this as one regime of a coach, because it was Bob Melvin and his staff, and Mike Shildt was on that staff with Bob Melvin. At some point in time, he was. And he was part of the organization. And in the 4 years of Bob Melvin, 22, 23, 24, 25, in the 4 years with Bob Melvin through Mike Shildt, they made the playoffs 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's getting fired for that.
No.
In baseball. Unless you're spending $400 million on a payroll, right? So this is not the same as these guys failing.
Why is it revisionist history to bring up the fact that a guy had god-awful teams?
That guy doesn't like AJ Preller. That's the only reason why I'm saying.
No, and that's fair. I've had my gripes with AJ Preller that I've mentioned over the last couple of years. You can't blame the fact that one guy quit because he went to take his dream job to manage the San Francisco Giants, his childhood team.
Right. And it was an opportunity to do so.
And you can't blame AJ Preller for a guy who just wanted to step away from baseball for a while.
And by the way,
just regroup.
As much as you want to say, well, this is the Padres organization and it's stress. He did the same thing in St. Louis.
Exactly.
The same thing happened in St. Louis. I honestly, and look, man, we have criticized AJ Preller a lot on this show.
Yes.
I can't throw him under the bus for this. I can't do it. I'm a fair guy. I'm going to be fair.
He made it a god-awful team. How did he make it a god-awful team? You've been to the playoffs the last 4 years.
They've made the playoffs 4 out of the last 6 years. Do you want to go back to being the Blue Padres? Do you? I mean, you can't sit there and say that AJ Preller is the reason they don't win a World Series, but then say he's not the reason they've made the playoffs. You can't say this. You can't do the same. You can't say that. You can't try to finagle your argument that way. Has AJ Preller made all perfect trades? No, nobody has. But to say that he's the reason for this, like why they haven't won a World Series yet is beyond me. I mean, everybody talks about Kevin Towers and what a great general manager Kevin Towers. Kevin Towers is a great man. But if you start looking at like how much time he was as a general manager, people are just like, well, he didn't have the money. I mean, he is widely recognized as the greatest general manager in franchise history. He had 9 out of 15 losing seasons. More of your phone calls when we come back. Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's Open Sports Station, 97 through the Fan. 11 o'clock on the Braden Surprenant Show. Live and local each every day from 10 to 2. Static Number Sports Station 97.3, The Fan. I mean, we're still complaining about the Trey Turner trade. It's bad, dude. Frank, what is this guy?
There are some people.
What is this guy?
There are some people that if the Padres win the World Series in 5 games, are going to complain all offseason about the mistake that they made that lost them Game 3. He is that guy. Just, you are going to find, there are people out there that will find something wrong with everything.
Somebody goes, the butthurt media talking bleep without naming real sources is so weak. The man retired. That simple. Have we said anything about like anything else? I mean, the article said what it said. I mean, that's how he managed his staff. I love how people get upset with anonymous sources. Why didn't you just name the real source? I don't know, because they probably wouldn't tell you if that was the case.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
Classic.
I don't understand it. I really don't. People hear what they want to hear, infer what they want to infer. I don't understand. Listen to the words that we are using. Don't drift in and out. Drifting in and out makes you look like a dope, especially in the YouTube chat. Because people who are listening will smack you down and make you realize, hey, that's not what he said.
We'll get to the phone calls. Your boy HW. Assuming we ever make it under AJ Preller, I'd still celebrate. It's unfortunate he blew what could have been a real golden era for the team.
Oh, for God's
We've
sake.
made the playoffs for the last 6 years. Growing up, you didn't even watch the Padres past July. I could think of most of my life not watching the Padres in July, August, or September. And honestly, going back to school, going like, they're still playing games in September. Now the Padres are like must-watch television. Look, they didn't win against the Cubs. So be it.
This is your golden era.
Right.
This is it. You're living in the golden era right now. When the Padres have a falter 15, 20 years down the line and they're bottom feeding in the National League West, you're going to be looking back at 2020 through 2030 going, wow, those were some awesome times. You are in the golden era right now.
Have we, has anybody changed? Have we changed our story? Somebody says we're changing our story from yesterday.
Oh, for God's sake.
Mike Shildt. I believe Mike Shildt. I believe he's had enough and he left. That doesn't mean he didn't manage the way he did. Two things can be true. I don't know how many times I got to say that.
There's also, like doing the healthy thing, which is changing your opinion based off of new information that becomes available. That's a thing that happens too,
I haven't changed my opinion too much. I don't think he was forced out. I think he literally left on his own. And what he believed, this is my take. His belief of what he needed to do to win wore him down and wore down his staff. That's what I believe. And in doing so, he got worn down enough where he's done. And he wants to take a break. That is literally goes in line with what we said yesterday. I'm just saying, like, AJ Preller has done a good job in the last couple of years. Now is not the time to get rid of him. The time to get rid of him was before. They should have got rid of him when it was the Jace Tingler problem. That would have made a lot more sense. But now that you've stuck with him through all of that, there's no justification, as Frank was about to say,
absolutely none,
to fire him now. He's actually done well in the last couple of years. He's done well and actually better with a smaller budget than he did with the gigantic budget when he could just spend aimlessly.
If you fire him now, all you're doing is signaling to potential candidates for the job is that there is potentially something wrong with the front office and with the ownership. Correct. That is the only thing you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
You do not fire general managers on a good streak, a historically good streak for this franchise. Correct. You do not fire general managers off of that unless you want to signal, hey, red flag, don't come here. That's all you do by firing AJ Preller right now.
What a stupid move it was for him to trade James Shields for Fernando Tatis Jr.
God,
what a moron.
I wonder what that guy's doing.
Yeah. Did he just get nominated for Gold Glove?
At a position he'd never played in his life, right?
Yeah.
Another
I
one.
guess everybody would have made that trade.
Jeez.
Hindsight. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Kevin in Chula Vista here to calm the chat down. What's going on, Kevin?
Well, turn the chat off. That's the first thing we can do. And everybody will feel, you know what? You know my feelings on
That's
it.
right.
You'll feel a whole lot better. Seriously, folks, if you want to participate, call. I mean, it's easy to do. It's easy to dial up on the phone. Braden's a great host, and so is Frank. And so they're not going to bite you, and you'll feel a lot better after you're done. Now, having said that, Mike was on MLB radio right before y'all came on, and it was a very great interview. Right away, you could tell there was a lot of relief in Mike's voice in what has transpired over the last week or so. So clearly, he made the points, Braden, that you and Frank are talking about in terms of the difficulties of being in his shoes, all the people that he had to deal with and please all at once. And, I've worked in middle management, and that's what Mike is. He's in the middle management compartment of the organization. You get shot at from the top and you get shot at from the bottom. So I understand completely his feelings at this point, and you get to the point to where you're sick of it. And with the prima donnas that he has to deal with in the clubhouse, to the egomaniacs that you've got to deal with up in the front office, it's a hell of a deal. And I feel badly that it worked out the way it did. Now, Frank, I'm going to disagree with you on AJ. What AJ has not done is create an environment top to bottom that is supportive enough to sustain managers here for whatever reason. I don't care about the one-loss records or anything like that. When you're burning through managers, it suggests that you've got problems in your front office and how it's out of sync from top to bottom. You've got problems here in this dugout, and it's been well documented behind the scenes. You've got issues here that you've got guys that you've paid a hell of a lot of money for, and you've gotten far too short of the results from what we were promised. AJ's got to deal with that, and he needs to, and he isn't. And to dump it all on a manager and say, okay, it's your turn, you handle it, I got you the players. Well, look, some of those players now are getting up in age, and they are suspect in their attitudinal approach to a lot of things that we need to talk about. We need to have conversations about, because we cannot continue to rinse and repeat. That's all I got for you today, guys. Thanks.
Kevin, appreciate the phone call. No, you can't. But at this point, he's done a well enough job in the last 2 years to get him the extension that he needs. I mean, you're evaluated based on results. You're making the playoffs, which is something this organization could not do before this ownership and AJ Preller had showed up.
And there is something to be said about the point that he brought up. I mean, if the culture was good enough that Bob Melvin said, you know what? Yeah, that is an opportunity for my dream job, but I'm not going to take it. Yeah, there is something to be said for that. There absolutely is. But again, it's not like it was good results. He decided to leave. That's a thing that happens.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
I think AJ Preller's done a fine job the last couple of years. I mean, I just feel like people think that the next thing coming in is always going to be better, and it's not always going to be the case. Just ask a lot of other teams that have done that in the past. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Troop in Chula Vista. What's going on, Troop?
Hey, what's up, guys? I just maybe have an idea of, I mean, we haven't really changed the coaching staff, like you had said, all that much in the last few years. But, like, maybe they're just too soft. I mean, in all honesty, the same issue happened with Shildt that did with Melvin. That somehow things get leaked that they're too tough. They're not good enough. When is that going to stop? Maybe our mentality shouldn't be, oh, poor us, we got yelled at, and we're being held accountable for our job. And maybe it should be, hey, let's let this manager do his stuff and stop crying to management. Kevin had said he was middle management. I'm middle management. Maybe they shouldn't skip the line and go up. Maybe they should actually address it, because if these are the same guys and we have the same soft clubhouse, maybe the culture is based off of them going behind his back, complaining about him to the players to get them riled up. That crap happens in regular corporate America. Why wouldn't it happen in a Major League Baseball team? So that's all I got. I mean, you can't pin it all on him, but like, seriously, Preller's done a good enough job, but maybe he needs to start getting some thick-skinned employees to work for the club. That's all I got.
True. Appreciate the phone call. Anyway. I mean, there should be something said about that for sure. But at the same time, like, I don't know how it is down there. I mean, I don't, I could handle a lot of yelling. I don't get like upset with being yelled at. I'm not like, I played football my whole life and stuff like that. So like, it's not a problem for me, but for a lot of people it is. And for a lot of millennials, it's definitely a problem. Millennials cannot take any type of yelling whatsoever. And neither can Gen Z. So maybe that is part of the problem. But I don't know. I'm not down there. Again, I still think Mike Shildt leaving is not an indictment on the organization as much as Mike Shildt was done with the way that he was doing things. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Continue the conversation about this, some other things that played out with that potential or with that article. And here's another thing. We'll take your phone calls on this news. But I saw something from Jeff Passan yesterday. The afternoon show talked about it. I think it's interesting how the NLCS could shape the future of Major League Baseball. We're going to dive into that, too, when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. All guests on 97 through the Fan. Join us via the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. Facing criminal charges, just trust David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys, helping clients regain control since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. I'm Braden Surprenant. He's Frank Marchese, breaking down everything from that Kevin Acee article yesterday. It's led to a lot of different conversations in the YouTube chat. I mean, there's a lot of AJ Preller haters out there. Everybody was fine 2 weeks ago about bringing back Shildt and AJ Preller. Now Shildt leaves, and all of a sudden it's like, gotta fire AJ. Time to get rid of him. I think he's done a fair enough job. Now, interesting article from Jeff Passan yesterday that I wanted to talk about. Got to transition from Padres baseball to an extent. The NLCS could shape the future of Major League Baseball, Frank. That's a pretty insane headline.
Oh, goody.
What looks like a traditional National League Championship Series, the Brewers and the Dodgers, is actually loaded with labor war implications that could define the future of Major League Baseball economics. The 2025 NLCS is more than just baseball. It's a proxy battle in the looming showdown between Major League Baseball owners and the Players Association, with the next collective bargaining agreement set to expire December 1st, 2026. Both sides are already gearing up for potential 2027 lockout. Now, here's what Jeff Passan goes on to say. Key context and stakes. If the Dodgers win, it bolsters MLB owners' argument for a salary cap. Proof, they'll say, that money buys titles. LA is operating with a record $500 million plus payroll, spending as much as the bottom 6 teams combined. A back-to-back World Series win would give MLB ownership leverage to say spending must be, quote, controlled for competitive balance. The Dodgers would become the first team since the 2000 Yankees to repeat as champions, the same dynasty that inspired the luxury tax system.
Yeah, I was going to say, where was this fight when the Yankees were buying World Series championships?
Correct. Now, if the Brewers win, it strengthens the players' union argument that team building matters more than money. Milwaukee's $115 million payroll ranks in the bottom third of Major League Baseball. They've made the playoffs 7 of the past 8 seasons, built mostly through trades, player development, and analytics, not big spending. Of their 26-man roster, only one player was a Major League free agent signing. It was Jose Quintana. It's not even that big of a free agent signing in general. Both teams excel at development. Dodgers with elite resources, Brewers through efficiency. Both are organizational machines, but on opposite ends of the financial spectrum. Regardless of the outcome, the series will become symbolic ammunition when MLB and the MLB Players Association sit down for negotiation. Owners, big money dominates. We need a cap. Players, smart scouting and player development wins. Spending isn't the issue.
What if y'all are both wrong?
I don't think whoever wins this series has an impact on the deal.
No.
Whatever happens, they're going to argue regardless. This is going to be the argument. This is going to be a main fact, I think, for both sides. I will agree with that, but I don't think whoever wins this determines the deal of the future. This is going to be a hellstorm for Major League Baseball. Now, that being said, the afternoon show talked about this last night or yesterday when I was driving from work to football practice. And I will say, there's a couple of things. I kind of agree with the fact that when you spend money, you usually win. And when I mean win the entire thing. And Chris Ello brought up the fact that the Brewers have done well and the Rays have done well by not spending money. Would you agree with that, Frank?
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that, like, both systems would work in that sense?
Yeah.
What do the Brewers and the Tampa Bay Rays currently have in common with 3 other teams? What if the Brewers and the Rays and the Mariners and the Padres, and there's one other team that I'm forgetting, what do they all have in common, Frank?
Good use scouting departments.
They've never won a World Series.
That too.
So as much as you want to say, like, hey, the Rays have really done well with this system. Have they done well? They haven't won a World Series. They've gotten there twice. They've lost both times with their little system. I'm yet to see like a small market, low payroll team go out there and win a World Series, with the exception of maybe the Kansas City Royals in 2015. Dodgers, high payroll. I mean, we can start going through it. The Texas Rangers had a top 10 payroll the year they won. The Astros had a top 10 payroll the year they won. Atlanta, top spending team in Major League Baseball. Dodgers in 2020. I have to go back to see what the Nationals were in terms of like overall payroll.
It's not a mutually exclusive thing. You need to have both. There is a statement, there is a case where you need to build up young players, say a Fernando Tatis Jr. or a Jackson Merrill, because they're cheap. They're great. They're franchise changing. You have them under control for 6 years. That is a window that you need to win. But in order to do that, you need to spend the money in order to get stars around them to complement them and their abilities. So it's not just one or the other. You need to do both. Just because one wins doesn't mean the other one is completely inadequate.
Well, it doesn't win.
But there is a way to do it.
Do you know what the Nationals payroll was in 2019? Fifth best in baseball.
There you go.
Fifth highest in baseball.
You
have
need to spend.
to spend money to win a World Series.
But you need to use both of those things in unison with each other in order to win. It can't just be one or the other.
But the argument is not that. The argument is
no, I know that it is one or
the
the other.
The argument is we don't need to have a salary cap because the Brewers can make it to the NLCS.
Right.
No, you need a salary cap because this is getting out of hand.
Exactly.
And only rich teams win the World Series. Teams that spend money win the World Series.
No, I know what they're saying. It is mutually exclusive, but what I'm saying is it's not. Those are not two mutually exclusive ideas. So their whole argument on that premise is faulty. You need to have both. But with the way they are putting it out there is it's one or the other. You either spend money or you lose, or you either build up and not spend money or you lose. That's the way they're framing it. And it's just not correct. Both of them, they're both wrong. You need to have both of those parts working in unison if you want to win.
Well, in order to develop players, you need money to do it. You have to spend money.
Yes.
The teams with high payrolls also have high forms of money to spend on their minor leagues. Let's go through it. Dodgers, top in payroll last year. Actually, they were third highest in payroll. Rangers, seventh highest in payroll. I'm curious to see how far I have to go back to find a team not in the top 10 in payroll that won a World Series. 2022, the Astros won the World Series. They were seventh best in payroll. They're spending money. 2021, Atlanta Braves. 11th, there you go, 11th in payroll. They still spent $150 million on their roster. 2020 was the Dodgers. They were the highest in payroll. Makes sense. Washington Nationals, we already got to. They were top 5 in payroll. 2018, Boston Red Sox, top in payroll.
Now, Augie, I didn't say that. What I did say was there should be a salary cap. There should 100% be a salary cap in Major League Baseball. There should also be a salary floor, a competitive salary floor, which is what, I don't know, every other sport has.
Mm-hmm. 2017, Astros, top 10 in payroll. 2016, Cubs, top 3 in payroll. 2015, Kansas City. You know what? You know what Kansas City's payroll was in 2015 when they beat the Mets? That last part wasn't necessary. 7th best in payroll. They spent the seventh highest payroll in baseball. Kansas City Royals.
Alex Gordon, Eric Hosmer,
Yes.
Salvi, in their primes.
2014 Giants, top 3 in payroll. 2013 Boston Red Sox, top 3 in payroll. 2012 Giants, 7th in payroll. 2011, Cardinals, 7th in payroll. If you go all the way back to 2011 and you look at the payrolls of the teams that won the World Series, all but one was top 10 in spending on payroll. The only team that wasn't was Atlanta, and they were 11th. So as much as I got to call out Chris. Chris was like, it doesn't matter because the Rays and the Brewers play so well. You know what team I didn't list as a World Series champion? The Rays or the Brewers. We're not saying you can't win games with a small budget. But what I'm saying is if the entire point of the sport is to try to win a World Series and you have to be top 10 in payroll in order to do so, you need to have limitations on payroll. And you should probably get everybody to start spending around the same amount of money. Should probably start and the rules that the Dodgers have are ridiculous. But at the same time, this is what makes the NFL great. You got a market like Kansas City winning Super Bowls all the time. They can compete with everybody because everybody's playing by the same rules. Salary floor, salary cap. Floor, salary ceiling. They need both of those things.
You've had the Stanley Cup championship in Sunrise, Florida these last couple of years.
They have some type of cap, don't they? You're the hockey expert.
Yes,
What's their cap?
They do have a cap. It's like $90 million.
Yes. Everybody's got some type of cap except for baseball, and they don't want to do it because we've always done it this way, and the players are going to get hosed. And it's like, players getting hosed? Are you kidding me?
They have a cap of $90 million and I think a floor of 65. So it's a tight window that you have to work in the NHL.
I think the reason why they would not get a salary cap, and people always go, it's the players, it's going to be the loser teams like the A's that don't want to have a floor. Because I bet you teams and I don't know, I'm just guessing, but I would imagine a lot of teams in baseball that are near the top in spending wouldn't mind a salary floor.
When I become supreme ruler of the world.
Let's start with commissioner of baseball first.
My rule will be that if you are a Major League Baseball owner that doesn't want to spend X amount of money as a salary floor, your team gets repossessed by Major League Baseball and sold to the person that wants to spend that money. Not the best person, not the person that has the most money, but the person who is willing to spend the money to put that franchise in a winning position. As far as the John Fishers of the world who would be getting their organization repossessed from them, your pay, because you're not getting paid, you are getting the organization taken from you. Your pay is how much money you stole from the fan base in ticket sales, merchandise sales, parking fees. All of that is your pay for the amount of time that you stole money from your fan base.
I just love the way the NFL is structured with the payroll. Now, that being said, not great for the players. I will say that. Their Players Association sucks. But you look at the payrolls for all of these teams, they're all spending $200 and something million on the roster.
And you also have to open your books, too. That's another thing. If you want to own your Major League Baseball team, you must open your books.
Does any other league allow that? I don't think any other league makes them do that.
I believe the NHL does. I think
you only have to do it for a publicly traded company. The Niners are spending $314 million on their payroll, and the lowest team, the Carolina Panthers, are spending $261 million on their payroll. That's still relatively close. I mean, you got the Dallas Cowboys are 20th in payroll, according to Spot Track. The cap maximum is 279. There's cap hits and everything like that. But the Dallas Cowboys, who is America's team, 20th in payroll. You got cities like Jacksonville, top 5 in payroll. I'm just telling you. And you know what it is? It's any given Sunday in the NFL. It's not the case in baseball. But here's the thing, and I agree with this. As much as you get mad at the Dodgers, right? Because they have all these, deferred money and stuff. If teams like the A's had to spend, all of a sudden they're sitting there trying to get Blake Snell. and trying to compete.
And you saw
It's
it.
both ways.
And
You need a cap and a floor.
And you've seen it already. Because when they were trying to get everything going for Vegas, look at how much money they spent this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a lot, but they spent. Luis Severino became the highest paid free agent pickup in team history. Why? Because they were trying to get the Vegas deal set up. That was why. So it's not that they can't, it's that they won't. Stealing money from fans.
Yeah. This is why you need a pair. Now, the results of this are not going to be the case. So, like, hoping the Dodgers, like, repeat as champions, as much as that's going to, like, add fuel to, I think, a lot of the other owners' fires, I think that hurts Major League Baseball in their fan room. Like, why are we competing with this?
Mm-hmm.
This is ridiculous. And the thing is as much as everybody says, this is why I always say, you know, because everybody that knows about baseball understands that the players would never accept this. Money talks. And if all of a sudden money stops flowing in as much as it is right now for TV contracts and for ticket sales and for everything else, because people get tired of watching baseball and the same team win every year, guess whose tune is changing? The players' tune is changing. Or the owners for a couple other things. If there's something that, you know, the players want that the owners don't want, but it starts affecting their wallet, they'll start making decisions on that. I did think it was an interesting article by Jeff Passan. But again, since 2011, the World Series champion has been a top 10 payroll team. The only exception is the Braves, and they were 11th in payroll. Now, that's according to Spot Track. In 2025, Dodgers have the highest payroll. Mariners have the 12th highest payroll. Blue Jays have the 7th, and the Brewers have the, according to Spot Track, it's 17th. I've seen as low as 25, so who knows exactly what their payroll is. I bet you if you go to Fangraphs, it'll be slightly different. But if that's the case, you'd be expected to see the Blue Jays and the Dodgers in the World Series. But even then, Seattle's, again, 12th, not far off, at least the top half. But to me, it would be salary cap, salary floor. Are we actually going to get to a sports thread on time? Maybe, today. Let's get to the sports thread when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. You can't count on much, but you can always count on Sundays. The NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Stream your local NFL game live every Sunday, all season long. Starting at just $30 for your first year. That's like $250 a month. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. No NFL. We might. I mean, who knows? We're definitely getting an Aztec football next segment.
Yes.
I'm excited for that. I've been waiting for 3 days.
Yeah, we've needed to give them their flowers, and we finally will in the next hour.
Bat fan 1. Raise your hand if you saw the Padres play before AJ was general manager. Yeah. Do you remember those days?
Yeah.
I remember watching Christian Villanueva be the best player on the team for a little bit. Third baseman of the future. Jose Castillo was going to be the closer of the future. I mean, do I need to pull up the lineups that Josh Burns put together?
AJ Preller joining the organization and Channel 4 San Diego disappearing. Coincidence?
Coincidence?
I think not.
That's right. That's a great Incredibles reference there, buddy. I remember the days of Logan Forsythe playing second base. He ended up having a decent career.
Remember the days of Jed Jerko being the star of the future.
They gave him a big contract.
They did, and then shipped him promptly off to St. Louis.
Some of us had to watch Jason Bartlett and Orlando Hudson play as the double play combination. Remember all the promises they made about Cameron Maben? You want to look at the lineup we had in 2011?
Yankee broadcaster Cameron Maben.
Yankee broadcaster Cameron Maben. How about the team that they had the year before AJ Preller took over? Nick Hundley, Yonder Alonso, Jed Jerko, Everett Cabrera, Chase Headley, Carlos Quinton, Alexi Amarista, Will Venable, great man, Chris Denorfia, Jesus Guzman, Kyle Blanks, 37-year-old Mark Kotze, Ronnie Cedeno, Yasmani Grandal.
Ronnie Cedeno, wow, he was still playing?
Ronnie Cedeno played 38 games for the Padres that year. Tommy Medica. We thought Tommy Medica was going to be a stud. What about Padres shortstop Pedro Siriaco?
Bless you.
Jeff Decker. Cody Ransom. John Baker. This is all on the same 2013 team, by the way. Eric Stoltz. Andrew Kashner, Edison Volquez, Jason Marquis, 34-year-old Jason Marquis, Ian Kennedy, Robbie Erlin, Clayton Richard, Birch Smith, Tim Stoffer, Sean O'Sullivan, Thad Weber, Anthony Bass, Dale Thayer, Brad Boxberger, Luke Gregerson, Miles Michaelis, age 24, Houston Street, Brad Bach, Joe Thatcher, Nick Vincent, Tommy Lane.
What about the 2002 team when you only had 5 players with a WAR above 1.0?
Was that their worst year ever? I can't remember.
They went 66 and 96 that year.
Sounds like a below 500 team.
That was under Bruce Bochy as well.
Hey, man, payroll then. Different. You bring in any general manager with this payroll, he wins immediately.
You had a 28-year-old Wiki Gonzalez.
I think was the worst year 03? When they were 64 and 98? 36 and a half games out of first place? What a team.
A young Oliver Perez. Wow.
I'm just saying,
he hasn't scarred me for life.
If it's both the same, you're not going to win a World Series. Let's put it this way. You're not going to win a World Series. Would you rather be the team that just never even makes the playoffs, or the team that makes the playoffs 4 of the last 6 years, knowing you're not going to win? Would you rather just be the loser team that just never wins? I mean, that's what it's just, I don't know. There's a lot of things to complain about for the Padres, but saying that this is an awful era of Padres baseball is just so unfounded because people want to be miserable.
Brian Lawrence was your frontline starter. Went 7 and 15 in 2005.
People are arguing with each other in the chat. Let's get to the sports thread.
Let's do that.
Need to have a top 10 payroll in baseball to win, but that doesn't mean spending the most is going to win. Just look at the Yankees and the Mets, but most of the Yankees. All right, Sports Thread time with our resident Mets fan.
Thank you for saying in mostly the Yankees. I do appreciate that.
Number one.
I'm not that much of a you-know-what. Just a little bit.
I'm going to let you go on this one because this, once again, right down your alley. Jameer Brown, the country's top wide receiver in the class of 2027, is the centerpiece of a lawsuit filed in the state court in Ohio that seeks to allow him to benefit from his name, image, and likeness while still in high school, baby. A move that may trigger the State Athletic Association to change the rules. The complaint names the Ohio High School Athletics Association, which prohibits its athletes from profiting off of their NIL. The lawsuit was filed Wednesday in the Court of Common Pleas in Franklin County.
So what is he suing?
Brown, he wants to be able to benefit from NIL.
Oh, so it's not allowed in Ohio?
No.
It's allowed in California. They passed that like 6 years ago. In California, you can benefit from NIL. High school kids can get paid right now if they wanted to, if anybody was willing to pay a high school kid.
Brown, who is committed to play at Ohio State, has an earning power of more than $100,000 a year, according to the complaint. The lawsuit was filed by Brown's mother, Jasmine, in her role as the quote parent or guardian of Brown. Why are we paying high school kids for NIL?
You can.
Why? They're not professional athletes.
Well, neither
They're
are
not professional athletes in college either.
Well,
what are we doing? What
if the kid's got a TikTok? If the kid's got a TikTok and he's got a famous TikTok, he's got a lot of followers. Why couldn't he get paid for that?
It's a personal TikTok account. That has nothing to do with the school. He should be
ineligible to play.
No, he shouldn't be. If it's his own personal TikTok account that he had made before he became a star football player, then don't touch that.
What's he arguing right now? Like the school should pay him, or like that he should be able to get endorsement deals?
OHSAA's blanket ban not only singles out Ohio high school student athletes from unequal treatment, but it also unlawfully suppresses their economic liberties, freedom of expression, and restrains competition in the NIL marketplace. The lawsuit does not offer a specific amount above $100,000 that Brown could make if he profits off of NIL, but it does mention trading card deals as an example of a monetary stream available to Brown, as well as significant non-monetary benefits that include enhanced reputation and networking connections.
Okay, so he's basically suing. He thinks he can just, he wants to sign autographs and sell them.
Yes.
I don't have a problem with it. I mean, it's open now. If somebody wants to spend money on a high school kid's autograph and they're that stupid, let them do it. I don't see the problem here. It's legal in California. I don't know what the problem is here. They've opened that, and guess what? They're going to start doing it at the Pop Warner level. I'm telling you, I said it last year. I said high school sports are going to turn into college sports. People laughed at me. They're like, "There's no way." Are you kidding me? Everybody's getting disgusted with the college stuff. Everything's moving down a level. College is doing pro sports. High school's turning into college. Pop Warner's turning into high school. Here it is.
So it's no longer the National Football League. It's the Senior Football League now. If we're moving everything down a level, that's fun.
Everything's getting moved down a level. I mean, what's wrong with high school kids making money? If that guy's got a job, like that kid can go work a job. Who cares? Paying a high school kid money for something he does in football is stupid. That's stupid on the guy paying him the money. It's not stupid on the kid getting the money. Hey, you know what? Go ahead.
Again, you know what? You want me to keep it? You want me to keep it fair? You want to keep it level here?
Yeah.
What did I say yesterday?
What?
You're stupid if you pay that much money.
Mm-hmm.
You're dumber if you turn it down. I'll say the same exact thing here. You're stupid if you want to pay that much money to a high school kid. But kid's dumber if he turns it down. His parents won't let him, but
Number two.
How much are the parents keeping?
All of it until he
turns 18.
Power of attorney.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
I will take a victory lap here Because last week we discussed the possibility of Alex Bregman possibly turning down his $40 million option to stay with the Boston Red Sox.
I said he'd be stupid if he did.
Apparently,
he's stupid.
He's stupid. Alex Bregman plans to opt out of his contract with the Boston Red Sox. A source told ESPN Tuesday night, confirming a New York Post report. The move was expected, and doesn't rule out that the veteran third baseman returning to Boston, but for now, he will be part of the free agent class for the second straight offseason. I told you he was going to do it.
You told me he was stupid because I said
told
he's
you.
stupid if he does it. He got bad
when
advice.
When did that stop a professional athlete? Hey, I'm going to look like an idiot here.
Beyond
Let me not
stupid.
do that.
Beyond stupid. That guy had, where's his contract? Is it even going to pop up anymore on Fangraphs? That guy had 40 guaranteed for the next 2 seasons. He's probably doing it for, quote, stability. What, is he going to, like, take a pay cut and then, like, just to have it longer? He's going to be 32 years old next year. What does he think he's going to get? An 8-year deal? They're going to pay him till he's 40? If I'm the Red Sox, I'm not even, like, close to offering him a contract.
These guys want long-term, big money deals. Pete Alonso's looking for 7 years.
Alex Bregman
minimum.
Played worse this year than any other, than most of the years of his career, and now he wants more money. He wants to make more than Aaron Judge. Who's going to give him that kind of money? Whoever pays him more than $40 million a year is stupid. They should be fired immediately.
It's
stupid.
They want big money, long-term deals. That's why I saw it in the chat earlier today. Give Schwarber 2 years. He will never take 2 years. Doesn't matter how much money you give him.
Doesn't matter how old he is.
They want the long-term financial security. They want long-term deals.
Didn't Pete Alonso outplay Bregman this year?
Yes. He wants
Bregman
7 years minimum.
Is he going to get 7 years, 50 a year?
Not 50.
Well, if Alex Bregman's getting 40, why wouldn't Pete Alonso get 50? It's going to come to a point where these organizations are like, I'm not paying this.
Exactly.
But I would not be surprised if Alex Bregman is not signed when spring training starts.
You know what would help with that, actually, ironically enough?
A salary cap?
A salary cap.
Salary
What do you
floor.
know?
That's why these guys don't want a salary cap. It prevents guys like Alex Bregman from, getting screwed that he has to get paid $40 million a year when he could be making $50 million a year. God.
Mark Nimitz in the chat just nailed it. Done. Schwarber, 20-year, $100 million contract.
That's right. There's your stability,
Done.
buddy.
Financial stability for
That's
long
right.
term.
This is why it's actions like Alex Bregman that I can't back the players in this, like, players owners side. I don't back the owners either, but, like, I sit there and I look at that and I have to be told how unfair it is for guys like Alex Bregman when he's turning down $40 million a year. Stability? What do you got? Stability? $40 million a year. What's not stable about that?
Watch him sign a 2-year deal with an option in the middle again.
What's not stable about getting paid $120 million over 3 years? You don't have to. He could just stop playing. You could retire. How much more do you need? I just don't get it. Noon lunchtime hour. How about them Aztecs? Talk about San Diego State football.
San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
This hour on 97 to the Fans brought to you by our local Kia dealers. Visit kia.com to discover movement that inspires. I'm Braden Surprenant. He's Frank Marchese. This is the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's number one sports station, 97 through the Fan. We're going to get into Aztec football. We've been teasing this for 3 days. We're going to hear from Sean Lewis when we come back. I got to rant about Alex Bregman for a second. Alex Bregman. I mean, you know what? Don't hate the player, hate the game, right? Alex Bregman is opting out of his contract. He is opting out of a 3-year, $120 million contract. Mike Swing coming in. Alex Bregman this year had a solid season. Played 114 games, which is, aside from the year he was hurt in 2021, the least amount of games that he has participated in an entire season. Had a 3.5 WAR, solid. That would be equivalent to his fourth worst WAR season, behind 2020, which was shortened, 2021, which he was injured, and 2016 when he only played in 49 games. So it was his worst WAR season in the amount of games that he had played, and at least 100 games played. He got fourth worst amount of hits at 118. I mean, he basically did not have that great of a year in his particular category. He was below his average on every statistical category across the board. He was getting paid $40 million a year. He's like, nope, I'm going to opt out. Need more money. $40 million a year. I don't know about that, but like, if 3.5 WAR gets you more than $40 million a year, what are we doing in Major League Baseball? Guy hit 273 with an 821 OPS and a 128 OPS plus. Those are solid numbers. Is that worth $40 million plus a year? Is it? Now, his numbers in 2019, an 8.9 WAR, a 296 average, a 1015 OPS, a 162 OPS plus. Hey, that guy wants $40 million bucks. We'll have a conversation. But the player that Alex Bregman was this year at age 31, I remind you, I mean, what starts to happen with players in their 30s? He wants more stability. And he opted out of $80 million guaranteed over the next 2 years because this is the time for him to make all the money he can. You know how much money Alex Bregman has made in his career? You know how much money he's made up until 2025? He has made $127 million in his career already. Now, he's a Scott Boras client, so, he's going to try to get the most. $127 million he has already earned. He had 40 this year, and he was expected to get 40 next year and the year after that. He opts out because he wants more stability. More stability. How much more stability do you need when you're getting $40 million a year? You could get $40 million for your age 32 season and $40 million for your age 33 season. And by the way, probably still sign a pretty lucrative deal. My question, though, of course, is, like, how much more do you need? How much more do you need? It's an interesting question. Like, how much more do you need? Like, does your lifestyle change between $40 million and $50 million a year. I don't know. I don't make that kind of money. Frank, do you make $40 million a year?
You're funny.
Where are my rich people at? Anybody in our listening audience makes $40 million a year? Do you want to tell me like how much your lifestyle would change if you made $50 million a year? He must hate Boston. I mean, that like Frank said like 2 weeks ago, he must hate Boston. That has to be the only reason why he would be out of that deal. I can't imagine him getting let's say he wants a 7-year deal. Is he going to settle for like less than 40 a year? I mean, how much money are you going to be able to get? We're talking about financial stability. This is why when these lockouts happen, I'm not on either side because it doesn't affect me. But I always find it interesting. The narrative of like players are allowed to fight and get as much money as possible, but the owners are not allowed to do that. Why can't the owners do that? Well, because they make X amount of dollars. So, like, at what point is that enough? Like, at what point of the contract is like, all right, well, he's now made what we determine enough money, so now he shouldn't be asking for more money. Let's just say hypothetically, because it's getting close, and we were pretty close with the Juan Soto deal, but let's say a player gets like $1 billion contract. We're getting close. We're getting close. Let's say a player gets $1 billion contract, Frank. If he opts out, is it like, well, you know what, he should be getting some more money, or is it like, wow, he's kind of got $1 billion?
I really hate where I'm playing.
Huh?
I
really
hate where I'm playing.
But what I'm saying is like everybody like defends the players all the time. I'm not pro player. I'm not pro owner. I'm not on either side. But I want to play devil's advocate for a second. I see this and I immediately go like, I can't really listen to the cry poverty from players. I can't listen to it. That guy opted out of $40 million a year after an like slightly above average season. Slightly above average season. But my question is like, why, if the players are allowed to earn as much as possible, right? They should be allowed to earn as much as possible. I think that's fair. Shouldn't the owners be trying to make as much money as possible? Wouldn't that be fair, Frank?
Theoretically, yeah.
Theoretically, yeah. But why isn't it fair? Oh, because they have $1 billion. What is the $1 billion the cutoff? So if like Juan Soto signed $1 billion contract, is he then incapable of asking for more money, Frank? Should he now stop trying to earn more money?
Look at you starting to understand.
I'm just saying, like, you're either for people going out there and making as much as possible, or you're not. So you can't say, like, we want to see the players try to make as much money as possible, but, like, not the owner. Why can't the owners make as much money as possible?
Because meanie bobini billionaire.
They inherit all the risk, Frank.
Don't matter.
They inherit all the risk.
Doesn't matter.
They're the ones paying for everything. If it wasn't for them, there would be no league. The players could go start their own league. Oh, they wouldn't do that, though, right? Well, they wouldn't do that because that wouldn't make any sense. I mean, a lot of them get paid a ton of money where they could probably put the money together and, you know what? Get a deal where they can start their own league. They could do the live golf thing. They had the money for it. They could do it, and then they could make their own rules.
What's his name in the chat? Would be thrilled to death by that. He's been wanting the Saudis to buy the Padres for the last year now.
People don't understand risk. They don't understand risk. Just because you have more money doesn't mean there's more risk. There is risk. They're inheriting all the risk. The players inherit zero risk. It's the same thing with business owners and people that work for said businesses. Just because the guy has billions of dollars doesn't mean he's not risking things. It takes a lot of money to run an organization. There's a lot of money that could be lost in the organization if Major League Baseball collapses. Or if there's a different league or whatever that may be. There's risk involved. So if you're all about people making as much as possible, which I am, good on Alex Bregman for trying to make as much money as possible. But at the same time, there isn't like this finite cutoff of like, oh, well, then these people can't. Well, they can't make. They have all this money. They can't make any more. So where's the cutoff point? This is why I don't get involved in these conversations. I don't care. It doesn't affect me. But I do find it odd when they cry like, we're not getting paid enough. And the guy's getting $40 million a year and he's opting out of it to make $50 million a year or maybe more years for stability. How much more money do you need? They could literally put all their money together and buy a team themselves. They don't do that. Why not? Because they got their money. They don't care. It's theirs now. They're going to go retire and do their own thing. It's an interesting conversation. I find it fun to discuss who deserves money and who doesn't. Who deserves to ask for as much money as possible and who shouldn't because they already have enough in the realm of society thinking they have enough. Alex Bregman turned down $40 million a year. $40 million a year to enter free agency because it wasn't enough for him. Amazing to me. It is. Hey, good for him. I mean, he's going to be great. I don't see how you could just leave that money. That's crazy. It's crazy. And you are what you're worth what somebody's willing to pay. Totally believe that. The market value. But I just find it funny, like when we get in these arguments, it's like, well, they have $1 billion, so it doesn't matter. Like they don't need any more money. They can just keep paying and paying and paying. But the players, there's no limit that they can reach. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. Yeah, the owners make a ton of money too. They're the one that invested all the money into the organization when they bought the organization. They make all their money back when they sell it. But if it goes down in value, they're going to burn a ton of money that they invested in their product. And they're the ones that make all the deals and all the TV and that. They're the ones doing all that. The players are playing. They're both compensated fairly. I just think it's an interesting topic of conversation. But this is why I'm not pro any side, because you see situations like Alex Bregman right here, who just opted out of $40 million a year. For what? Financial stability? If he comes out, he's like, I just hate playing in Boston. All right, you know what? He left a lot of money on the table to leave that place. Good for him. But that being said, I mean, how is his life going to change with the amount of money? It's the perspective of money to me is interesting. But think about that. Like, just being in the sport is big because it was created and put on TV, and a lot of the stuff happened before these players showed up. Because the guys that were playing before them weren't making as much money as they're playing now, that they're making now. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. I cannot wait to see what Alex Bregman's contract is. I can't wait. Can't wait. Also, I can't wait to hear from Sean Lewis about his 5-1 Aztecs and why. Frank and I say, hey, Frank, what's the key of the show? What's the phrase of the show?
Right, but too early.
Right, but too early. What did I tell you? I said, you know what? Speaking of money, you guys could have become Jeff Bezos by listening to our prediction. There's a disclaimer in there somewhere. They're not listening to us for betting advice. We're not very good at picking games, but we were good on this one. We'll tell you when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan.
How about them Aztecs?
12:19 on a Wednesday. All guests on 97 The Fan. Join us via the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. Facing criminal charges. Trust David P. Shapiro criminal defense attorneys helping clients regain control since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. It's time, Sean.
How about them Aztecs?
5-1 on the season. 2-0 now in the Mountain West Conference. They beat Nevada 44-10 last Saturday night. We're destroying Nevada. I mean, Nevada scored 10 unanswered in the whatever it's called, fourth quarter, as I'm thinking about different things at once. Jaden Denegal, 14 for 17, 205, 2 touchdowns. Also ran the ball 4 times for 41 yards. Lucky Sutton, 16 carries for 76 yards and a touchdown. Jordan Napier had 5 receptions for 110 yards. Also got a punt return for a touchdown. Trey White, defensively, 6 tackles, 3 solo, 3 assists, a sack, and 1.5 tackles for loss. Gabriel Palencia holds the longest active field goal streak in the NCAA with 22 kicks, 27 of 28 on career field goals, 39 of 40 on career PATs. They rolled over Nevada last week. Phenomenal performance from San Diego State. What could have been a relatively trapped game with a brand new quarterback for Nevada, a team that had competed better than what their record and their score showed, and the Aztecs just walked all over them Saturday night. Frank, any takeaways from the Aztecs win last week?
They're for real. They really are. They are for real. Those two.
Who was saying that before the season started?
Both of us, I believe.
Us.
You a little bit more loudly than I was, but they absolutely are for real. Now, Nevada is not a good team, but as I said, it's one thing to play a bad team. It's another thing to do what you're supposed to do against those bad teams. And it did not start off great for San Diego State, but that punt return by Napier really snapped them back into the game, and they completely dominated from there.
Washington State actually played pretty well against Ole Miss to kind of eliminate that being as much of an embarrassing loss. But that's still like, the more you win, the more you sit back and you're like, man, didn't show up that one week. But I tell you what, you start looking at the schedule. We're going to get to that in the next segment. What did we say about Aztec football? I said they could win. I said they could go 8-4 this year. I said they can go 8-4. People laughed at me. They're like, there's no way. Aztecs are toast. No way. Program sucks.
There's a legitimate chance they can go 10-2 this year.
I looked at it. We're going to look at the schedule later, and we're going to talk about the impact that this football season has on the Aztec athletic department. But I'm going to tell you right now, their over-under wins for the season was 4.5. And what did we what did we say from June?
Immediately over.
Take the over. Take the over. Take the over. Take the over. Take the over. Take the over. Take the over. They were gonna win. They were gonna win more than 4.5 games. I thought they were gonna win 8. They're well on their way to potentially winning 8 games. They only gotta win 3 more. San Diego State at 5-1 now, and out of there, and we're gonna go through it. They have to win 3 out of their next 6 games. They got to go 3-3 in their next 6, and they will win 8 football games this year. They will be 8-4 if they go 3-3. And they got some teams on their schedule that they should be able to beat and beat down. Now, I still think there's a couple of testers. They got 2 weeks to prepare for Fresno State, who's 5-2, but Fresno State got ran out of the building by Colorado State last week. Ran out of the building. I think that's a little bit of a trap game. They're playing for the oil can, all that fun stuff. They got to go up to Fresno. Tougher place to play. They get Wyoming at home. They got to go to Hawaii. I think that's a little bit of a trap. It's always difficult to play in Honolulu for any team. And you know that game's probably going to be late at night. And then they got Boise State at home. Those 3 games are the 3 games that I think are trap games. I mean, New Mexico at the end of the season, they're 3-3. I know they... look, they destroyed UCLA. Destroyed UCLA. So maybe that's a factor. But I'm telling you, it's Aztec team, man, is good. And we're going to talk about, what the excuse is now about not watching the Aztecs. I mean, they have everything that you were looking for. But before we get to that, let's talk with Sean Lewis a little bit. Here's his opening statement from the postgame from Saturday night when they beat Nevada.
Pleased with the effort. Really good effort in all three phases. It was great for the boys to start fast, to get the 2 non-offensive touchdowns early was huge. Obviously, anytime that you can put points on the board in those non-traditional ways is really, really beneficial. So fast start was really advantageous. Was pleased with the way that we were able to be balanced on offense yet again. Distribute the football to a lot of different guys. Was really pleased with the defensive effort, the way that they swarmed, really made the new quarterback feel uncomfortable with the different looks that we were giving them. Kicking continues to be a great consistent factor for us. Gabe is doing a heck of a job, and number of times that we can put the ball up on the tee and knock touchbacks back there, and we don't have to cover those is really, really good. So wish that we would have finished a little bit better. Disappointed that we didn't find the end zone in the second half offensively, but that's me nitpicking, and that gives me some stuff going into the bye week to really dial into. So now's a good time for us to get refreshed, get recharged. Back half of the season is obviously no joke, and we got to do a great job attacking that day in and day out.
Good overall performance. Obviously, he's upset about the way that they finished that game, which leads Sean Lewis to talk more about their need to play a complete game.
We've been talking quite a bit, obviously, about we laid an egg the first time that we went out. The defense carried us the second time that we went out. So to take kind of that next step, right, as we talk about this climb and the journey that we're on to be improving and to continue to elevate was having all three phases put together a 4-quarter game, And so, again, the way that we started, the way that all three units played collectively well together was great to see. Now we got to start embracing kind of that next man up mentality to where no matter who's in at what point in the game, right, that the standard doesn't get compromised and that we finish appropriately regardless of circumstance and regardless of what the scoreboard is. But it was great to see, again, the first half for all that to come together and for us to take that next step in this journey.
A lot of it comes with their quarterback, right? And Jaden Denegal and the progression that he's had to make throughout the season. I think he's gotten a lot better. I think it's a big reason why the Aztecs are playing a lot better in their last couple of weeks, why they've been able to put up 42 points, 34 points, 45 points, 44 points. I mean, this offense is putting up the numbers and the points that you expected them to do last season. Now, in their loss, they only scored 13. And then, of course, in DeKalb, Illinois, they put up 6 points. But they're starting to get it going a little bit more offensively, using the run of game with Lucky Sutton and Byron Caldwell and Christian Washington. But also, it's Jaden Denegal and the progression he has made throughout the season. Here's what Sean Lewis had to say about Denegal.
Familiarity with the scheme, knowing where the answers are. I think early on he was thinking about all things in every call, where he's really been able to narrow his focus within the calls and how it applies to each game plan that we've put together relative to the opponent that we're going to see. And again, just kind of speaks to his maturity and his level of comfort with the playmakers that are around him.
Last thing for you, Sean Lewis on surpassing projected expectations for the team, obviously talking about the win-loss total for the season. They hit the over, baby.
The external noise, quite honestly, doesn't bother me. I don't give it much heed unless I can use it as motivation. Just trying to get better each and every single day, truly, right? Like we took a good positive step today. We got an unbelievable opportunity next week to compete against one another and for us as Aztecs to really grow and get better during the bye week. And then obviously there's a pretty big one after that, but the vision needs to be tunnel focused on the opportunity that we have next week to really go inward, to evaluate and assess who we are, and then go out on the field and create new opportunities for us to grow and for us to compete and for us to improve. So when we get to go out on the field for real, that next opportunity, it's even better than it was tonight.
The last time they came off a bye week, they beat California 34-0. So hopefully they can play off of that. And that was coming off of a bad loss, 36-13 to Washington State. Cougs are now 3-3. But you look at overall what the Aztecs have done, a 5-1 start in their first 6. They got the back half of the season now. And they got Fresno State on a 2-week bye, on a 2-week prep with the bye. And then they got Wyoming and Hawaii and Boise State and San Jose State and New Mexico. And they're right there in the thick of things. Not only for the Mountain West Championship game, but potentially win the Mountain West. And they have it's not a crazy thing to say that they have a relative chance at making the college football playoff. Not as an at-large, but as a conference champion, a group of 5 winner. How is that going to happen? And what does this mean for the program? We'll answer that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Braden Surprenant Show live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station 97.3 The Fan. Well, if we have time to do the midday sports standoff, we will do it today. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. If you call in and take me down to sports trivia, you'd be qualified for a chance to win our grand prize, a trip for two to see Jerry Seinfeld in Las Vegas, including 2 tickets to the show on April 17th at the Coliseum at Caesars Palace, a 2-night stay at the Flamingo Hotel and Casino, and a $100 gas card. Jerry Seinfeld returns to the Coliseum at Caesars Palace on April 17th and 18th. See Ticketmaster.com for tickets. Give us a call, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's talk about the Aztecs. And now, after recapping last week's game, finally, and getting to the upcoming schedule, there's really no excuse now for Aztec football to not be at least more popular amongst the attendance. San Diego State actually received an AP vote this week. AP top 25 vote this week. They only received 1. They received 2 points, but they got voted 24th. In one of the polls. They got finished 24th in one of the polls. Aztecs football getting votes in the AP top 25. In the coaches poll, they got one top 25 vote coming in at number 25. So now you talk about the narratives around Aztec football. And I'm going to tell you right now, you start looking at where everything sits in college football, where whoever wins and whoever's the best group of 5 school that is the conference champion makes the college football playoff, San Diego State is right there knocking on the door. Now, there's a couple of things and a couple of programs you have to look out for in that particular sense. Let's talk about what San Diego State has to do right now. They obviously would have to run the table or at least put themselves in a position to win the Mountain West Conference. As things stand right now in the Mountain West Conference, and again, they've gotten rid of divisions in most of college football. San Diego State football in the Mountain West is tied for first with UNLV and Boise State. UNLV, the Aztecs, do not play this year. UNLV is 2-0 and 6-0. Beating them would be very clutch in the Mountain West championship game, should they face them at that point in time. Again, both teams and all teams in the Mountain West have 6 games remaining. Boise State, also 2-0 and 4-2 on the season. Aztecs get to play Boise State later on at home. That game should be packed, San Diego. And there's really no excuse why it shouldn't be packed. We'll get to that in a second. So the Aztecs don't have to play UNLV, and they're tied at the top with Boise. They got to finish in the top 2 to be in the Mountain West Championship game. It would be nice if they got to host the Mountain West Championship game. That's a different conversation for a different day. They still got to play Fresno, who's in 4th. They got to play Hawaii, who's in 5th. They got to play Wyoming, who's in 6th. They do have to play a lot of the top half of the Mountain West. And then later on, they got San Jose State and New Mexico to finish out the year. Those 2 teams are near the bottom. They do not play Air Force this year, who are 0-4 and 1-5. They do not play Utah State this year, who is 1-1 and 3-3. A look at the Aztecs' upcoming schedule. They got Fresno State not this Saturday, next Saturday, which will be the toughest remaining test on the road, but it's coming off of a bye, and Fresno State just got smoked by Colorado State, a team that San Diego State ran out of the building. Then they got Wyoming at home. They're 3-3. They're 1-1. Not a team that you can overlook. They can't bite you if you're not paying attention, but you got them at home. Got to deal with the difficult travel on November 8th at Hawaii, but a very winnable game for a very good team. And then you got a Boise State team that's not as good as last year's Boise State team. It's a very winnable game, but probably going to be the biggest remaining home challenge for the Aztecs. If you make it through Boise State, you should be able to take care of business against San Jose State and at New Mexico. But let's just say you go 5-1. I think the Aztecs have a really legitimate chance of going 10-2. And if that's the case, more likely than not, you're in the Mountain West Championship game. Now, you really have to beat Boise State. Otherwise, you're going to have to rely on them to lose somewhere down the stretch. I think Fresno State could be part of that conversation. And to make it easier, you got to let UNLV, hopefully they lose one game across the board. Now, that's how San Diego State controls their own destiny of this conversation and winning the Mountain West. And to be honest with you, if you're a group of 5 school, you should be trying to just win your conference and then see where everything stands. And as of right now, the Aztecs have a great opportunity to win their conference in football. They are 5-1. They're really starting to hit their stride. Now, in terms of other teams in other conferences that you have to worry about, the American Conference is definitely the conference that you're going to have to worry about. Because as of right now, 2 teams in the American are, in fact, ranked. South Florida, who beat Boise State this year. That doesn't help the Mountain West. Who beat Florida, who is ranked on the road, which is a better win than anything that San Diego State's got. And has already played Miami. They got smoked by Miami, but somebody has to do it. They are relatively, in my opinion, the favorite to win the American and then, of course, be the representative in the college football playoff. You would need them to lose. The other school is in the American, and they play South Florida, and it's Memphis. And Memphis has a good win, too. They beat Arkansas at home. But looking at the other conferences, like right now, like Navy's undefeated, but Navy, I don't know if, to me, the only way Navy gets considered to be in the college football playoff is if they go undefeated in conference play. They got to win the American Conference. And, by the way, they got that extra game against Army they got to deal with. That's not included in the American Conference. So Navy's got a lot of other opportunities. I don't see Navy getting into the college football playoff over San Diego State. So that's the American Conference. Like Tulane's right there too. Like Memphis, South Florida, Tulane, Aztec fans, you need them to drop a game each. South Florida and Memphis will play each other. Probably I don't know who you really want to win that game, because whoever wins that game is going to get a little of a boost. You need neither of those teams to win the American. You go over to the other conferences. Conference USA. Kennesaw State's leading Conference USA. They're 4-2. Conference USA is not going to be competition. You go to the MAC. Frank loves the MAC. You love the MAC, Shin Frank.
Love the MAC. Go Bulls.
Bulls are in second.
Yes, they are.
They're 3-3. You're probably not going to have to worry about the MAC conference either in terms of making the college football playoff. Sun Belt, maybe with James Madison. James Madison right now would be that number 1 team coming out of the Sun Belt. James Madison this year has a loss to Louisville, and that's it. And then they have ripped through their schedule pretty effortlessly. San Diego State, it's not crazy to say they have a legitimate chance at making the college football playoff. Is it a high chance? Probably not. But they do have a chance, and that brings up the question. What more? And I guess it's early, right? I mean, it's only been 6 games, and it's 1 year, and it's hard to build the fan base back up. But, Frank, what are like the 3 to 4 things that are the reason why people don't go to Aztec games?
Too expensive, boring play.
Too expensive, boring play.
Lack of quality opponents.
Lack of quality opponents.
And they're not really playing for much of anything.
Don't have a chance at the college football playoff.
Mm-hmm.
Shade.
I forgot.
You forgot about the shade. I love complaining about how stupid the shade sounds. And everybody gets like, well, people have this and that. And
Every home game is a night game this year, by the way.
Correct. So let's go through it. So what was your first one you said?
Too expensive.
Too expensive. They have now started to flip the tickets and give you an opportunity to buy tickets at a deal. That's a good start. Number 2. What did you say?
Boring play.
Boring play. They're scoring like 40-something points a game. Their offense is moving the ball. Defense looks lights out. They're playing. I would consider that they're good. Remember, it was like they're not good and they're not exciting. They're now exciting and they're good. Number 3.
Lack of quality opponents.
They got Boise State coming up. Boise State was in the college football playoff last year. Aside from that, you got a point. There's not really a lot of good competition.
You had Cal.
But let me tell you this. There is no reason why people shouldn't go to the Boise State game.
No.
I'm just going to view that one. Okay, so it's at night. We have a time for that? Is that a night game already? It's a 7:30 kick.
Yes.
It's at night. It ain't going to be hot. You don't have to worry about the shade.
The only game that we don't know what time the kickoff is San Jose State. They announced the kickoff for Fresno State will either be at 12:30 or at 4 o'clock, but they know the game will be on FS1. The only game that we don't know what time the kick is the San Jose State game, which is the last chance to see the Aztecs this year.
Okay. So let's just look at that. Let's just talk about the Boise State game. We're going to try to get people to go to the Aztec game against Boise State. Okay, so what is it?
Don't forget about Wyoming.
Yeah, but Boise State is the opponent thing.
Yes.
I can't factor in the Wyoming is like, I think Wyoming's kind of cool,
know.
but you know what? Most people are like, Wyoming?
Stadium's awesome.
Is Josh Allen playing? No, he's not. Sorry about it.
His numbers retired, though.
Okay, so Boise State. Good opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Game is at night. No sun. Aztecs are good. A win there would be competing for a college football playoff spot. All of the excuses for why people in San Diego don't care about San Diego State football or why they don't go to games are eliminated in that Boise State game.
Mm-hmm.
There is no reason why you shouldn't attend the game against Boise State. If you're interested in seeing the new stadium, if you want to see what we're talking about, if you want to show and see if we were actually right, well, we were right because we said they would win more than 4.5 games.
Nationally televised game as well on CBS Sports Network.
Televised game. Why wouldn't you go support San Diego State football against Boise State? That is a must-attend game. I have to be at this game, assuming it's not some weird Friday or anything like that.
I'm excited for the game against Wyoming.
I'm excited for any of those games.
The biggest problem is it's 4 o'clock, which, sorry to the shade crowd, but I'm excited to get back there. It's been a while. We missed the last game because of I believe you had a game and I couldn't. Oh, Padre, you had to coach, and because of Padre baseball, the credential request completely skipped our mind because of the playoffs. But very excited to get to Snapdragon again.
No reason why you shouldn't attend the game against Boise State. Aztecs, baby. How about them Aztecs?
How about them Aztecs?
How about them Aztecs? It's a good football team that they got there. This is huge for them. Could you imagine if they, even if they, you know what?
Winning the last Mountain West championship?
Not even that. Let's say they win the Mountain West championship. They go 10-2. Let's just be conservative. It's good enough to make the college football playoff. They'll get the 12 seed. Even if they go and get their ass kicked. What does that do for the program?
You made the playoff. You've shown that you've proven that you can make the playoff.
Correct. You're proven that you can make the college football playoff. That if they can hang with the team, that would be even better. But like I'd have to look at like what the guess of where you would be playing. Like you just got the 12 seed, right? First 4 have a bye. Yeah. You're playing like an Ole Miss or an Alabama, or I mean, if they got like a Texas Tech or something like that on the road, Texas Tech's good, but that doesn't seem as scary. They just got to keep it close. I think it'd be pretty good. There's no excuse now to not go to an Aztec football game. They've done a great job. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get to our midday sports standoff.
Welcome to Midday Sports Standoff on the Braden Surprenant Show.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
The ultimate head-to-head battle where sports knowledge and quick thinking collide.
No, it's no good. Are you kidding me?
Contestants will go toe-to-toe with Braden in a sports trivia deal where every correct answer brings them closer to victory.
Down the sideline! Wow! Unbelievable!
But 3 strikes and it's game over.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Can you outsmart Braden? The Midday Sports Standoff starts now.
All right, Frank, who we got playing today?
We have Cameron in San Marcos playing today. Cameron, how you doing today, bud?
Good, thank you. Appreciate what you guys are doing.
We appreciate you for calling in. So today we have a topic, 9 potential answers here for this topic. There are 9 Super Bowl matchups that have happened multiple times. What are they? Cameron, you have the first guess.
What was it was the...
There are 9 Super Bowl matchups that have happened multiple times.
Wow.
What are they?
Okay. Niners, Chargers.
No. That'd mean the Chargers would have made the Super Bowl more than one time. Yeah.
Just laughing at the comment,
Sorry
not your
about
answer, bud. Go ahead, Braden.
Sorry about it. Oh, man. Bills, Cowboys. Didn't they play each other twice during the 4 years or something?
Bills, Cowboys, Super Bowl 27 and 28. Cameron.
There's 9 of these?
Let's try Niners, Bengals.
Niners, Bengals, Super Bowl 26 and 23, Braden.
This has nothing to do with my guessing, but are there any that have happened more than twice?
There is one that has happened more than twice.
My guess, for some reason, was Cowboys Steelers because of all the rivalry they had, even though they're in different leagues.
That is the one that has happened
3
more
times.
than twice.
Wow.
Super Bowl 10, 13, and 30. Cameron.
How about Patriots, Giants?
That's a good one.
2 very fond memories. Super Bowl 43 and 49. Braden.
Chiefs and Niners is a recent one.
Super Bowl 54 and 58.
Chiefs and Eagles.
Yep.
Super Bowl 57 and 59.
I want to say Patriots Eagles is also a repeat from 05. Like, wasn't like an early Patriots game against like Donovan McNabb?
39 and 42. You had another one in there, Braden. I believe it was you said Chiefs and Niners. Okay.
I did, yeah.
All right, so you got to get this one to tie here, Cameron. There's 2 left.
2 out of okay. So 2 out of 9.
You have to go quick here. We're running up against the break.
Baltimore and somebody.
Baltimore
No.
and somebody, he says.
Baltimore is not one of them. Braden, can you put it away here?
Not really. I can't think off the top of my head. What is the last one?
Well, no, there's still 2.
Oh.
Cameron, if you think you got a guess, shout it.
Giants, Bills.
No, not Giants, Bills. Cameron, you got one?
Cardinals and
Cardinals
No.
limited once.
That would have been the 3rd one. Off to the next hour we go.
Tony Gwynn Jr. here, and one thing you will always get on our show is Padres Talk. We'll talk about the biggest news, reports, and give our thoughts all off season long from 2 to 6 p.m. on your home for Padres Baseball, 97.3 The Fan.
Hey guys, it's Woodsy. Are you trapped in a high-rate mortgage watching your hard-earned money vanish every month? Stop right now. At Loan Pronto, they are delivering the lowest mortgage rates in 3 years. Loan Pronto's rate reduction home loan program is a streamlined, low-cost way to slash your house payments by hundreds of dollars a month. Lock in a fixed rate as low as 4.99% APR and close in as little as 2 weeks. No appraisal needed in most cases. And here's the kicker. You can skip your next 2 house payments entirely. Don't wait. Rates this low won't last forever. Call Loan Pronto now for your free, no obligation quote. Loan Pronto is incredible. Imagine lower payments, more money in your pocket, and a fresh start with a better mortgage. Call 619-207-4336 or visit loanpronto.com to lock in your new low rate now. Skip those next 2 payments. Don't let high rates hold you back. 619-207-4336 or go to loanpronto.com right now. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Auto insurance bills can be
All right, I got one of them during the break, and I was mad because I wanted to guess it, and then I was like, no, I think I got one of the teams confused with Carolina in my head. But the question was, for the midday sports standoff, there have been 9 Super Bowls that have repeated. Can you name the teams that have played each other multiple times in the Super Bowl? And so we went through a couple of them. I had
So the answers that we got were Pittsburgh, Dallas, who had done it 3 times, 10, 13, and 30. The Niners and Bengals, who did it in 16 and 23. Cowboys, Bills, who did it in 27, 28, back-to-back years. Pats, Eagles were 39 and 52. Giants, Patriots were 43 and 49. Chiefs, Niners were 54 and 58. And Chiefs, Eagles, which were 57 and 59. Which left 2.
Left 2. And I was going to say before we went to break, but I was like, I think I'm confusing the Rams with Carolina. Was Patriots, Rams. Because I remember early Tom Brady beat the greatest show on turf. And I thought Vinatieri kicking that field goal in Houston was against the Rams, but it was against Carolina. So I went away from it, forgetting that Jared Goff and the Rams made the Super Bowl against the Patriots and lost. Patriots, Rams was the other one. Now,
36 and 53.
Frank told me the last one because I couldn't think of one, and I had to go to the bathroom, so I wasn't going to sit there for that long. And I said, I give up. Go ahead and tell me. And the answer he gave me, I wasn't going to guess anyway. But the last answer was
the Miami Dolphins versus the Washington Commanders met in Super Bowl 7 and 17.
Chris Ella would have got that.
He would have gotten that.
Chris Ella would have got that. All right.
He was just starting his sports radio career, I believe, around Super Bowl 7.
That's a foul, dude. Old jokes on Ello, dude.
He draws the foul.
That's a foul. It's not like Johnny in the chat, in the YouTube chat, he calls him Mr. Ello.
I believe so.
Mr. Ello. He's like, it's a sign of respect. I'm like, you're making Chris feel old, dude. Just call him Chris. Mr. Ello.
Let me let you know a little secret. He is old.
Wow. Mr. Ello. I just old jokes on Ello. You're gonna draw a foul. They're gonna be funny. You're gonna get a laugh, but it's gonna draw a foul. It's drawn contact every single time.
I'm not gonna not appreciate it, but you're also not getting away with it.
It's like taking a charge, but you got the blocking call. The effort was there, but we knew you weren't gonna get the charge. That was block right here. Foul's on Marchese. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. All right. We talked about Aztec football. We got into it. They do not play this weekend. They got Fresno State next weekend. I do want to mention the Anaheim Ducks won another game last night.
Let's go, Quackers. Home opener as well.
How did the goals do?
Well, we know they
won their first game.
They whipped the snot out of Coachella Valley. Let's see here.
They should be having a home opener soon.
The AHL.com. That is this weekend, as a matter of fact. That's the 18th.
Schedule. I just want the regular schedule goals. They have not updated their win. They did not play again until this Saturday when they host the Henderson Silver Knights.
Oh, cool. So a nice week off. There you go.
The goals website has them not even scoring in that game against Coachella.
They have no one scoring in that game, as a matter of fact.
0-0. Is that even on the AHL website?
It was 5-0.
5-0 winner for the goals. Nice.
That puts them in their
first
next
place.
Their next 2 games are going to be at home against the Henderson Silver Knights on Saturday, and then on Wednesday against the Colorado Eagles.
Eagles 2-0. EAGLES Eagles. Like Gonzo, Papa Ello. Instead of Mr. Ello. Batfan 1. Ello did play-by-play in the 30s. Gravy owns the clips. He plays the clips all the time. Strasburg, ready to go. Don't they? I think they have that clip somewhere in the system. I've heard that probably 1,000 times. Strasburg, ready to go. He does sound like he's from like the 1930s when he does that clip.
Joe Namath back to pass.
Oh, man. Johnny Unitas. I can't make fun of Ella like that. That's ridiculous. Strasburg, ready to go.
Well, hold on. To be fair, we gotta
He draws the foul.
Gotta do the foul.
Gonzo. Naturally, Case Frank asking for the smoke. Johnny goes, I'm going to call you Mr. Surprenant. No, Mr. Ello, dude. You're making him old.
Hockey. This radio program brought to you by Lucky Strike Cigarettes.
No, unfiltered. I like the fact that Scraby played the rain clip yesterday. Didn't realize that we played it like 15 times. In the show. Or he did and he didn't mention it. He played that thing like 15. He played it yesterday after we played it all afternoon, and he had no idea. That's the best part.
Wow, it is raining really hard. This is being cool here on the Entercom Empire. So if you're sitting out there,
what? It gets me every time, dude. Every time. And so they were talking about that.
This is being
that was
cool.
like the 4th or 5th day of them being on air or something, is what they were saying. I thought it was further into their showtime of them being on air. But Scraby retold the story. And he said it was early when they started, and it was right after, I think, the Super Bowl or something like that. And they were trying to talk about the Super Bowl, and they're breaking down the Super Bowl, and then all of a sudden he got distracted by the rain, which checks out for weather in San Diego. And Chris said on air yesterday, he's like, I remember going to Tony afterwards going, we're in trouble. If this guy's leader, there's no way our show makes it with Matt Scraby as their producer. And you know what? They have. And it's because of Matt Scraby. They have lasted this long and done a great job in the afternoons.
For those of you who are maybe a little too young to get that.
You were dying in the back.
We're in trouble is basically today's chat. We're cooked.
We're cooked.
100%. We're not even cooked. We're so far beyond cooked. We are cremated at this point.
We're cooked.
Chat, we are cooked.
Gwen and Chris were cooked after Matt Scraby said, what, Frank?
wow, it is raining really hard. This is being cool here on the Entercom Empire. So if you're sitting out there,
This is being cool.
This is being cool here. That is true. Gonzo said one of Ello's jobs he had was he used to get
Yes, he was a
the
singing
telegram.
Yes.
We got to bring that back. Does that mean Chris can sing, or did they just have him sing anyway? He's got to be able to sing, right?
I would have to assume.
The things that Chris Eller did for
form.
walking around money at San Diego State as a pitcher. Singing telegrams. What is the worst job you ever had?
I worked here.
Oh,
but
wow. That's where he starts with. Working here is the worst.
I didn't mean here, meaning at Odyssey.
You're going to have to be a little bit
When
more.
I was working at Vaughn's. That was my first, one of my first jobs. And
You bagging groceries, you stocking shelves,
I
getting
was
carts.
bagging groceries. I had a brain fart and agreed to be a front end supervisor. After wanting to kill everyone doing that for a while, I went to do the .com bagging the .com in-store shopping thing. And when I moved back to New York to start my career with CBS and WFAN, I swore to myself I would never, ever, ever work in a grocery store again. 3 weeks later, I am hired as a overnight stocker for Stop and Shop out there, which was probably the worst decision I could have made as far as a job. Because I told them straight up, I said, this is my career. This is what I plan on doing. And if that comes calling, I will be calling out and you will need to replace me. They didn't seem to take that seriously. And after I did it a couple times, they started to get fed up with me. I started to get fed up with them. And I left that job the week everything shut down for COVID.
Wow.
So I got out of Dodge at the last possible second.
I was distracted by Nate Taylor in the deal. He's like, you know that episode where that frog that sings?
Yes.
Yeah. Hello, my baby.
Yep.
Hello, my
Mhm.
darling. It's literally pictured that when Nate put that in the thing. Grocery store, worst job you've ever had.
Yes, because people, not the workers, some of them, but not most of them. The general public.
Oh God,
sucks.
It does. Like working at Starbucks was kind of like that. I've done my Starbucks bit already, but like the Starbucks in California were way worse than the Starbucks in Arizona or Texas. Worst job I ever had.
I've never. Just the customer's always right. That's
not
BS.
great for you.
That's
Yeah.
BS. It is a lie.
Super lie.
It is a lie told to you, and I don't know where some people get the sense of entitlement that they have, but boy, oh boy, trust me, your grocery store clerk wants to knock you down a peg, but knows that they can't if you act like a jerk to them. I promise you.
I love Juan is just continuing to make Ello old jokes in the YouTube chat. Ello's worst job was assembling Model Ts. We had other ones in here too that were pretty funny. Ello invented the barbershop quartet. Juan is on a roll. There was another one that I thought was funny. Another Ello job. Go Aztecs. Ello was partying with Bart Starr and Max McGee in that first Super Bowl. Juan asks, are you Coach Surprenant or Coach Braden for your kids? I'm Coach Surprenant, but there's two of us because my dad coaches too. So it's like, it's always a question of which one we're talking about. So I'm Coach Younger Surprenant. Sometimes I get Coach B Serp. Not as cool. The kids call me B Serp sometimes, but.
Sign spinner for a Halloween store. That's a good one.
Brutus Fan 619 selling Sears vinyl siding was a trap job. I didn't know what. That's what I got signed up for. Rod was a busboy at Soup Plantation.
Wow.
People don't tip. Of course they don't, because you don't have a waiter. You're doing everything yourself. They probably forget about the busboy cleaning all the bowls and stuff. I bet you Rod has seen some disgusting things at Soup Plantation. I bet you he's seen some disgusting things at Soup Plantation. What else we got? Anybody else on there? The Starbucks thing was one thing. I worked a job in college called Froggy 5-0, which is already kind of stupid with a name.
It was on campus, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so like what the job was, and I was doing this for a little extra money, so I was working the football job, and all that money just went to tuition because TCU is expensive. And then on top of that, I needed some walking around money, to cover like rent and stuff and being able to pay for groceries instead of saving my per diem over the road trips and then going to the grocery store with that. I worked this job. I would pick up some other shifts doing other things. And I did for a little bit before I was getting paid to do broadcasting work at TCU. Ella was a busboy at a Cowboy saloon. Juan's just on fire. I did Froggy 5-0. So what it was, and it was before like Uber and Lyft got super popular, but it was kind of like that on campus.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd work Thursday nights. And unfortunately, I worked this in the fall. So it was like colder in Texas at the time. But you would do this like rideshare thing with golf carts on campus to get students from one side of campus to the other. So they have to walk alone kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
And so it would start at sunset and it would go to like 2 a.m. 1 a.m? I think it went to 1 a.m. And so like I would be in a golf cart driving around TCU, and then people would call the dispatcher. Yeah.
So it's a taxi service.
It was a taxi service. Yeah. So they would call, like, it was mostly girls, and they would call the dispatcher at TCU PD and ask for a ride. And then they would radio to us, need a pickup for whatever. Like we all had numbers. So I had a number, which I don't remember. And every building had a number. And it would be like, I need you to pick up 4 at 15 over. Like, all right. I'd be like, look, okay, that's on the other side of campus. Okay. So I'm trying to drive over there and pick these people up. So I'd pick up these, I'd either pick up try-hard kids that were going to the library on a Thursday night at like 10 o'clock at night, or I'd pick up some drunk sorority girls that were going to a pickup spot for their Uber to go downtown.
Hell yeah.
Those were the fun ones because they would just outlandishly say things that you just off the cuff, girls. I mean, just they did not care. The drunk dudes would be talking about sports. The drunk girls would be talking about X-rated things that I didn't need to hear about at all. Especially the freshmen and the sophomores. And I would just be like, what are they? I'm like, I'd be sitting there driving. I'd play music because that was cool. I played music that I liked. So I'd have my speaker in my golf cart, and they would just be blabbering all the tea about all the this and the that and what they're doing with their boyfriend after and what she did to this. And I was just like, what are they talking about out in the public? Girls, what are you guys, the tea you guys spill to each other is wild to me.
It reminds me, my grandfather loved to go to Atlantic City, but nobody ever wanted to go with him. And he was kind of like older, so he wasn't going to go by himself. So he wanted to create like kind of like a taxi business where if anyone wanted to go to Atlantic City, give him a call and he'd drive them there and back. You know what he wanted to call it?
What?
Rent a companion.
Rent a companion. That's probably not the best phrasing
No,
for something.
you think?
No.
Just to go to Atlantic City. Anyone want to go to Atlantic City and gamble? Call Rent a Companion.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not going to get red flagged.
You would get a 60-plus-year-old man instead of what you were probably expecting.
The clientele for that
would not have been great.
Yeah. Not a great idea, Frank. Yeah, the first night I did the Froggy 5-0, I got a flat tire on my golf cart. Thing popped, and I'm like, dude.
Thanks for that.
And my tire got popped right where like they had like a formal, I was not in a fraternity, so didn't participate in it. Whatever. And like these fraternities and sororities do these joint like formals, and I blew out a tire right where the drop off was. And there was some instance there where like TCPD had to be there for some drunken incident of a minor drinking and some other things while I'm trying to fix my tire. And I'm just like, oh God. Some kid's doing a breathalyzer test, and I'm just like fixing a tire on a golf cart.
Speaking of which, Texas A&M police
God.
Had a time. I think that's
they had a
we can
time. We'll talk about that when we come back. What a batting average. I'm going to say batting average. What did the guy have with him? Oh, my. Texas A&M PD is having a great time on social media for home games. We'll talk about it when we come back. All guests tonight sit to the fan or join us via the David P. Shapiro fan hotline. Facing criminal charges, trust David P. Shapiro criminal defense attorneys, helping clients regain control since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. Decision day is this weekend in the MLS. We have some clinching scenarios for San Diego FC that we'll get to, but college football is the best for a lot of reasons. College football is the best for so many different reasons. The tea, the drama, the excitement, the pageantry, the chaos of watching Conference USA Tuesday Night Football, the Twitter accounts, and everything in between, as well as the police accounts of these colleges. Like, I was technically employed by TCU PD for the Froggy 5-0 thing, for the driving the golf carts. Yes. If I had an After Dark podcast to share what was said in the back of the golf cart, it would be, toasty, to say the least. But our friends at Texas A&M, I don't even want to say our friends, because it is Texas A&M. But Texas A&M PD might have a better account than anybody else at Texas A&M. Texas A&M police, hilarious on social media. They have almost 80,000 followers in responses to mostly intoxications at Kyle Field. And most of them are public intoxication. In fact, if you just look at October 11th, which is the last time they had a game, they tweeted out so much at this game. And they always go like, arrested, ejected. Like, and one of them was insane that we saw from last weekend, Frank. Do you have the tweet ready to go?
Hold on one second. I'm trying to figure something out here. See if we can't get some.
This is like a Florida man account.
Got to get the crime detective music.
Is this generic, or are we going to get banged for this?
This is generic. It's royalty free.
First one of the day. MIP PA 102. Subject holding twisted tea saw officer and ran into tent. Stated she, quote, was holding it for a friend. Citation issued. And the thing is their hashtag for Texas A&M police is, for the games, beat the hell out of school. So they played Florida last week. BTHO Florida was the hashtag. I like the specific subject holding twisted tea. Moving on. Other citations, interesting.
Public intoxication, Kyle Field Plaza.
Is this the biggest one? We got to save the biggest one for the end.
Subject stumbling through plaza. When asked for ID, she handed officer a credit card. Released to sober mother.
Oh, my God.
Which I don't know. What's worse, getting arrested or being drunk at a college football game and your mom has to come and pick you up?
MIP NEAT. I think NEAT is an acronym. I don't speak police, so I don't know. Texas A&M police. MIP NEAT. I'm just call it NEAT. It sounds funnier. NEAT. Natural light beer in pocket. Citation issued. Ejected. Hashtag beat the hell out of Florida. Next.
Public intoxication, level 7 concessions. Subject asking people to buy them alcohol. Arrested.
No, that's not great. How about this one? This is insane with the pockets. MIP. Neat. I don't even know what that means. I'm going to sound like an idiot saying it. 3 natural light beers and 1 twisted tea in pocket. Citation issued. Ejected. Guy was smuggling in 3 natties and a twisted tea into Kyle Field.
Oh, God.
What else we got?
Failure to ID. Section 237. Contacted subject who was stumbling, provided wrong date of birth to officer 3 times.
Oh, no.
Arrested.
1. Yo, Texas A&M's keeping it pretty twisted. Public intoxication, Legacy Lounge. Subject kept trying to enter the lounge without credentials. Released a sober friend. Ejected. I didn't know this one that was the best one of the day, which we're going to get to, involved the sandwich. That makes this even better. Public intoxication. Subject had blood on shirt and nose. Declined medical treatment. Arrested. Hashtag beat the hell out of Florida. Well, that might have gone to a different level.
Yeah, no kidding, huh? Oh, there was another one.
Releasing a sober father. Releasing a sober friend.
There was one that was...
Vaping. Seat. Ejected.
There was one that the guy was released to a sober friend who then turned out to be intoxicated.
I saw the
They
one from a
both got
couple
arrested.
weeks ago. All right. I think we've gone through almost all of them.
Yes.
Here's the one
big
of the
one.
day.
You want to read it or you want me
I
to?
got it. Gonzo, I want to know the flavor of Twisted Tea. Here we go. Texas A&M police tweeted this out on October 11th. Public intoxication. Aggie Park contacted a subject eating a sandwich with a water jug of whiskey. A water jug of whiskey. Like a gallon jug of whiskey. BAC was 337. Released to EMS.
No
337.
That was my response to you was when I sent
He
you
would
that.
have won a batting title.
Yeah, when I sent you that, when you have a blood alcohol content higher than most Hall of Famers batting averages, you are having yourself a night. That is a wild, wild, wild night.
This music's getting creepy now.
And Nate, I want to see proof.
337. BAC. How are you alive, brother?
We got to make this a week. This is got to be a weekly spot.
Texas A&M police. They only play every.
No, I know, but it when they play, it's got to be a weekly spot.
I mean, there's some other ones from the past we could have got to. October 4th. Can you cut the music now? It's bothering me. Here's one.
If I hadn't have thought of it while we were already starting the segment, I would have gotten some better music. But
MIP times 2. Male subject removed Busch Light beer from pocket and started drinking it. Male subject then gave female companion a Truly from his pocket. Male subject had a fake ID. Citations issued. Ejected. Beat the hell out of Mississippi State. That's the best part, is the beat the hell out of.
What, that was from the Mississippi State, was that
is
from?
Crazy. Jug of whiskey. A jug of whiskey.
This
Busch
is
Light,
so good.
Busch Light beer fell out of a subject's shorts as he walked past the officer. More beer in pockets. Ejected. Hashtag beat the hell out of Mississippi State.
NEAT. Subject had 2 Miller Lite beers in front of pockets of his fishing shirt. Ejected.
The best part is Texas A&M police tweets out a picture of a dog before every game.
Yes.
Giga Maggies. It's game day. I can't believe I said Giga Maggies. That makes me want to vomit. K9 Jessie can taste the excitement for today's game. Let's stay safe, and she will see you tonight when we beat the hell out of Mississippi State. Next tweet. Subject with Busch Light beer in back pocket. Citation issued. Ejected. Oh, my God. This is crazy. This is fun.
Public intoxication, section 102. Unable to walk, given opportunity to call sober friend, but he locked himself out of his phone. Arrested. Beat the hell out of Auburn.
Beat the hell out of Auburn. We're going to beat the hell out of you and you and you and you and you and you. They probably do that chant a lot. Matter of fact. We got any other funny ones?
Is that the police chant?
It might be. I think that's it.
Go to Utah. Looking at Utah
I'm basically
State
looking at the
now.
retweets to see if any of them are in the thousands, and that's the ones that I want to read the best.
Subject with Keystone beer in his pocket at the NEAT said he forgot he had them.
NEAT's got to be it's a location.
Yeah,
of
it's got to.
something.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Somebody, some Aggie, please tell me where that is. I've never been to College Station, nor do I have the, feel like doing it.
Intoxicated subject near PA 30E. He was stumbling and standing in the roadway. Released to sober wife. Again, I'd rather be arrested.
Subject with Keystone beer in his pockets at the NEAT said he forgot he had them. Ejected.
Yeah, I said that one.
That's classic. Subject started vaping next to an officer in the NEAT. Ejected.
Vaping section 129. Subject was asked to stop earlier, vaping again and making obscene gestures. Ejected. That was for the UTSA game.
Go Runners. Go Aztecs says, ask the good question because we got to take a break. How many arrests were made when Appalachian State showed up?
Minors attempted to hide alcohol behind a bush. Citation issued.
All right. Moving on. This is what, could you imagine what Texas Tech police is tweeting out? If what the projections for the college football playoff come true, Frank, of LSU going to Lubbock, Texas?
Dear God.
I'd love to see that scene from a distance. LSU, Texas Tech in Lubbock in December. Field day. Clinching scenarios for San Diego FC when we come back. Plus, a final recap of the biggest takeaways from AJ Preller's press conference from yesterday as we kind of put a bow on this. He also talked about Padres roster decisions. We'll play that as well as we finish out the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 to the Fan. Final segment of the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number sports station 97.3 The Fan. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Thanks again for tuning in to today's show. Talked a lot about that article from Kevin Acee earlier today on Mike Shildt. We mentioned that. We got into some Aztec football today. Talked about the drunken stupors of Texas A&M fans, apparently, which was funny, which has led to a lot of people saying what they used to do when they were kids. Some of you guys are crazy. Some of you are crazy. Somebody's asking where the tacos and 40s are at.
I'm waiting for the tacos. Where the damn tacos at?
I could use some tacos today. You know what? I might stop by today on the way up. I need something to eat before practice. Get locked in on some craft taco. I got sent some al pastor fries on an Instagram post. I would devour those right now. But it is a Wednesday, so it is a Wednesday. I gotta get back on track, Frank.
It's a wingy Wednesday.
I mean, I had wings yesterday on a Tuesday. I should have tacos on Wednesday. See, you know what? I flipped it perfectly. I had to get something at Pitchers. I got garlic parm wings. Side of fries, split it. Tacos on a Wednesday. Rod, where the damn tacos at? 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. All right, MLS, San Diego FC this weekend, huh? Final game of the regular season. And San Diego FC could get the 1, 2, or 3 seed. Can they still get the 4 seed?
I don't believe so, no. So they're going to be top 3.
Based on what San Diego FC pointed out, if San Diego FC wins versus Portland and Vancouver loses to Dallas, San Diego FC gets the 1 seed. If San Diego FC has a draw versus Portland and the LA Galaxy draw or lose versus Colorado, they will be guaranteed the 2 seed.
LAFC, not the Galaxy.
LAFC. And then if San Diego FC is a draw versus Portland and the LAFC wins against Colorado, they get the 3 seed. That's kind of how that plays out. So if they win, they're guaranteed at least the 2?
Yes.
If they draw, then they would need a LA Galaxy draw or loss for them to secure the 2. And LAFC. And if they draw and LAFC wins, they get the 3 seed. There you go. That's all I need to know. So hopefully they beat Portland, and then it guarantees them a 2. And then if the White Caps lose, then they get the 1. And then it's playoff time.
Yes, it is.
In San Diego. I'd say give me your biggest takeaways from last week. They didn't play.
Nope. They did not.
Drake will be sad on Friday when you bring up Oregon. I'll see Drake tonight, by the way. We got USD men's soccer tonight as they take on LMU. ESPN Plus. You want to tickle your fancy into collegiate soccer. Let's talk about what the biggest takeaways were from AJ Preller's press conference yesterday. Kind of finished the press conference, the Mike Shildt retirement, all of that news before we start talking about where they go from here. And there is some news that has come up in The Athletic about a certain a certain staff member that is now getting an interview with the Twins. So, AJ Preller's end of the season Zoom lasted nearly 45 minutes yesterday. Yes, it did. Longer than any in the past decade. Yes, it did, Frank.
It was nice.
It was nice. It came 2 weeks after elimination, signaling something was brewing behind the scenes. The reason Mike Shildt had requested a week off before making any decisions and later informed Preller he was retiring due to stress, burnout, and health issues. Preller called the news conference for, quote, more of a surprise than a shock. AJ Preller's reaction to Mike Shildt's exit. He praised Shildt for back-to-back 90-win seasons and consecutive playoff trips, avoided details about his own contract status or long-term future. It was reported earlier today or late yesterday, according to Jeff Sanders, in an article about how the managerial job is a very attractive job in Major League Baseball, the managerial job for the Padres. The first sentence of Jeff Sanders' article is AJ Preller is expected to receive an extension offer this offseason, according to sources within the Padres organization. AJ Preller reiterated he wants to find a manager who can stay 10 years, a lofty goal given the recent track record of managers. Preller admitted he had been aware of Shildt's chest pains, poor sleep, and death threats during the season. Called Mike Shildt someone who, quote, throws every fiber of his being into helping the team. Shildt becomes the 5th full-time manager to leave under AJ Preller. Since 2019, Machado's signing and Tatis's debut, no manager has lasted more than 2 seasons. AJ Preller insists each situation is different, but the pattern is undeniable. Despite that, he says San Diego remains a, quote, fun, demanding place to work that sets a high bar. Publicly denied reports AJ Preller did of staff friction, saying the team's success was built on togetherness. Then yesterday, Kevin Acee reported that there was, in fact, staff friction amongst the head coach, or should I say manager of the Padres, in Mike Shildt and his coaching staff. Some coaching staff members of the San Diego Padres coaching staff had said that if another opportunity presented itself, they would take it. Goes back to some sources that were listed in this article by Kevin Acee, going back to the St. Louis days, that the Cardinals staff had basically threatened to quit if they brought Mike Shildt back the year that they ended up parting ways with Mike Shildt. Mike Shildt won ball games. Mike Shildt was not the easiest to work for, according to multiple people in the organization that could speak on the matter, that were granted anonymity. Sea anemone. That's how I feel like saying it. I feel like the cartoon. I feel like the kids in Nemo trying to say sea anemone. Anonymity. Anyway.
Squirrel.
Yeah. I got distracted by my own inability to say anonymity. It's hard to say. So, anyway, this news comes out. Again, 2 things could be true. A lot of people want to weigh into the weeds about it, say it's more than it is. But the reality of the situation is Mike Shildt ran his club the way he felt was necessary to run it to win games. He had 5 seasons as a manager, 3 in St. Louis, 2 in San Diego. All 5, he made the playoffs. So maybe he was onto something. But his style of managing put a toll on him and put a toll on both of his staffs in St. Louis and in San Diego. Both things can be true. He could run his club in a very difficult situation for coaches and also in the process wear himself down where he has to retire. I don't think that's anything more than that, Frank.
No.
We talked about that all day today.
Yeah, that's not, I believe Mike Shildt 100%. When he says, you know what, done. I think we're good here. I believe that over anything else. Any of these conspiracy theories, I don't believe any of that.
Well, you think this is the reason why we got to get rid of Preller and all this stuff. Okay. What's next for the Padres dugout? No specific timetable to hire a manager. Preller will consider veteran and first-time candidates, though familiarity with him is seen as an advantage. Some potential candidates have reservations about the job because of the franchise instability and older, expensive core. Preller argues the Padres' job remains one of the most attractive in baseball, citing fan support, payroll, and location. Can't disagree with AJ Preller there. Can't disagree with some potential candidates having reservations about the job neither. And until AJ Preller officially signs that perceived contract extension, which he is expected to receive this offseason, according to sources within the Padres organization, it's going to remain a position of not necessarily stability. Quote, it's a challenge of winning a World Series in a city that hasn't done it before. Which honestly leads me to a question that we haven't answered yet that we could talk about probably tomorrow. But when you're hiring this new manager, and you want to try to get it right, you are trying to hire somebody, Frank, to do something that has never been done in the history of the San Diego Padres. Think about that for a second.
Take a special kind of person for sure.
The San Diego Padres were established in 1969. They have never done this. And the person you are hiring, you believe, is going to come in and do something that nobody has done for 50-something years, whatever it is. That is what is at stake when you are making this decision. Now, we don't really have time to dive into the player personnel talking points that we got yesterday from AJ Preller's press conference. We can talk about that tomorrow. We'll have Eddie Brown on the show tomorrow. We will not have Skylar in studio. Skylar is just a world traveler. I don't know if she flew herself to this place, but she is not going to be there. She will throw in her picks, though. If you wanted to know what we thought about the Kevin Acee article, go back and listen to the first hour. We did talk about it ad nauseum at the first hour. Anyway, here's a couple of things that popped up today. Number one, Twins are interviewing Nick Punto for a managerial job. Nick Punto has been on the Padres staff. Nick Punto is getting an interview with the Twins should the Padres grant an interview with Nick Punto. Padres allowed the Twins to interview Nick Punto. Does that tell you that they're not interested in potentially interviewing Nick Punto? Maybe. Who knows? Going a little bit further in this interesting post from The Athletic, a team source also confirmed the Twins have spoken with and are planning the interview former Pittsburgh Pirates manager Derek Shelton, New York Yankees hitting coach James Rosen, and Boston Red Sox bench coach Ramon Vasquez. Another hot name internally is Chicago Cubs bench coach Ryan Flaherty. Though it's unclear if the Twins have yet to be granted permission to speak to the former infielder because Chicago's season only ended a few days ago. Flaherty played 8 seasons in the majors, retiring only after the 2019 season. Flaherty worked in player development and as an advanced scout with the Padres in November of 2019, temporarily took over as acting manager for the Padres in June of 2022, and Bob Melvin was sidelined with COVID. Flaherty was the Padres bench coach and offensive coordinator in 2023 and spent the last 2 seasons as Craig Counsell's bench coach with the Cubs. We kind of laughed at the Ryan Flaherty conversation. Should we be taking the Ryan Flaherty as the Padres manager more seriously? The Twins want to interview him. The Braves want to interview him. The Padres interviewed him the last time before going with Mike Shildt. And what I was told, it sounds like it was a pretty close second, Ryan Flaherty. Can Ryan Flaherty be the manager that wins the first World Series in Padres history? That is a question we will ask tomorrow as we get you more news around the other teams in Major League Baseball that need a manager. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This has been the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each day from 10 to 2. Quinn and Chris coming up next. We'll talk to you tomorrow. San Diego's number sports station, 97.3 The Fan.